On. Okay. Hey, folks. Starting another show.
Dude,
Message me. What do you got?
the Rockets, why did they lose so bad last time, man?
Dude,
They made Montrezl Harrell look like an all-star. I mean, he was good when he played here, but he wasn't an all-star. This dude had a career night, 30 points.
The Rockets. And we go from being ranked number one to like the worst team that exists.
I think we're down to like rank number 16, 17 right now.
Jeez. I mean, it looks like, or at least Carmelo Anthony can play. That's
Dude,
the only
I'm
one that
telling
can.
everybody that.
That's the only one that can play is Carmelo.
He's trying to redeem himself. He
He's
likes playing with Chris Paul. He really does. It's his best friend.
Oh, well, it'd be nice if Chris Paul played or anybody else. But Carmelo made some good points. Carmelo made 27 points last night. He did a good job.
Hitting from the three. Eric Gordon, did he show up or he was still asleep?
He's asleep. All the others asleep. But Carmelo Anthony did a pretty good job. No, I don't know, man. We'll see if the Rockets learn how to play again.
Yeah, they're trying to get Butler. They're putting in everything they can to get Butler. Rockets.
I don't even know if it matters.
I've been working family time, the same time of work. I had no time for it.
Yeah, this guy.
We don't even watch Ninja Warrior stuff most of the time.
It was a Monday nights. Monday nights in USA, or it used to be. Now that's Monday Night Raw now. When does come on?
And if we do catch up, we're usually watching for the Houston folks, people we've met and trained with.
Yeah.
My daughter loves going, oh, look, there's Allison. Allison Templewine's one that's been in a few times. Or, oh, look, there's Daniel. Daniel Gill's one of the biggest names in the sport right now. He trains at that gym.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to miss with his pretty boy hair. Well, him and his wife have the same hair. It's amazing. From the back, they look almost identical. He's a little bit taller, but not much.
Be glad he got hair. At this point in my life, I'd just be glad if I had some.
Me too. It fell down in my bag. I didn't have that in my youth, but now I do, so I know what it is.
Oh, well.
I still got it, just not where I want it.
I don't have. I mean, it's gone. Mine's gone.
I started losing my hair in my early 20s.
So I was at a CVS going to law school. And I look, I'm like, man, that guy sure is going bald. And I move, I'm like, oh, dang, that's me. Yes.
That mirror up here like this to watch for chocolate.
And we can see the back. Man, that guy sure ain't got no hair. I move a little bit, I'm like, oh.
I'm glad that's not me.
And it's only gotten worse and worse. And he gets some of the shoe polish just kind of put back there. So.
Yeah, the hairspray.
Tattoo your head with black so it always looks like you have some on there.
Might as well at this point.
Man, I don't know, it's starting to hurt on the top. It's standing out.
No, yours is fine.
It's because I comb it this way, you can't really tell. But if I go back, you just see nothing but scalp.
I'm in Japan coming out of the what's that thing called? One of our stores. Not really commissary though, because commissary is usually food. But it was a store on the outpost on the base. It was on Japan, Yokosuka. And I'm walking down the steps, and all of a sudden all I hear is, "Oh my God, Bo, you're going bald!" There's a guy behind me. He was an AO. His name was Jason. And shouted out for everybody here. I didn't think much of it. Of course, that night I checked it, and he was right. Big old goose egg right back here. I just never noticed.
Well, that's a good thing. That's the good thing is you don't. If it's in the back, you just don't see it. It don't bother you as bad because it's in the back.
So at that point, I just started shaving it. I embraced it.
I'm not far behind you.
It's easier. When I wake up, I have to brush my beard, but not my head.
Well, then it transitioned from up top to down low. Yeah, up top to the sides.
It's a different brush, sure. Getting older is not for the weak.
Oh, did I get this thing working? I think I actually got the thing working finally. I forgot how to do it. Now I just remembered. I got it all on the. I got it on the Twitter going. I'll do some wild stuff. I got the Twitter going. I do got the Twitter going. Yay! We're on Twitter. We're on Twitter and Twitch and Periscope and all of them.
It's funny, you could be pulling my leg and I wouldn't know or not. I've heard of Twitter, but I'm not very technological savvy. A lot of parts of it, Jason. I wouldn't even have a Facebook if it wasn't for my life and stuff.
Well, you own a firm. You got to kind of.
I'm trying.
What is it? About 6 minutes out?
Yeah, it was like a
5 minutes? Okay, I don't want to. You know, I'm bad at knowing stuff.
No, I have 2 main attorneys that are partners. And one of them was ARPA, but it's nice and sweet. Says, good luck, bro. The other one says, yeah, I've always said you got a face for radio. You'll do great.
That's the joke. You got a face for radio. They always tell me that too.
What, a face for radio?
Yeah. Kind of insult actually, but okay.
It really
Yes,
is.
it is.
We on? Everybody there? Make sure y'all.
Oh,
Well, not us. You got
well, you-
false alarm now. Make sure y'all tune in 9:50
Give me-
a.m. on your radio dials, or you can always go to the iHeartRadio app and look for 950 KPRC. Check in. Make sure you listen to The Eric Dick Show. We're starting about top of the hour right now, so after the commercials, you will see us on. What's up, Steve? What's up, man? And as always, today's program sponsored by Topo Chico Aqua Mineral Water,
the
As well
unpaid
as-
sponsor.
as well as Bragg's Naturally Organic Apple Cider Vinegar All Natural Drink. This is the limeade flavor today. It has a little more tartness to there, but it's really good for you. Really helps with your liver. Make sure you get that Bragg's All
Does it-
Natural Apple Cider Vinegar.
does it really help with your
does help with your liver.
Huh.
Hey, Shelly. How y'all doing? Hey, yeah, we're going to talk about voting today. Make sure you get out there. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot of other things today. Real fun show. But
Good
as
juice.
always, call in 713-212-5950, 713-212-5950. Numbers up in the link or the description. But yeah, if you haven't voted, today is a day to vote. You have all day to get out there. Wait in the line, whether it's short, it's long, it's going to be worth it. I'm supposed to say it doesn't matter who you vote for as long as you vote, but it does matter who you vote for. So get out there and vote for the right people. Make sure you vet the candidates and don't just listen to a bunch of nonsense and bullet points and hype. Yes or no for firefighters. Look, I'm torn on the firefighters. Firefighters kind of get what they deserve because they always support the wrong candidates.
That's
But
true.
at the same time, if we don't vote yes for Prop B, then we're never going to force the city to go in there and control their spending. So
You gotta vote for Prop B. How
yeah,
can you
I'd
not
say vote
Prop
for
B?
Prop B just because
Gotta
it
be
forced the
yes.
city to actually rein in their spending, so they stop spending hundreds of millions of dollars on art projects, and they go back to the basic city services, which the city's supposed to be about.
Well, not
So-
only that, what happens if we stroke out? If we stroke out, I want the firefighters there.
That's
Pull
true.
me on the EMS. I
That's
don't want
true.
them having to work a second job over at Chick-fil-A.
Firefighters just don't put out fires. They also are there for EMT, EMS services. If you're stroking out, you're having a hard time, you got an accident, they're usually right there first on the scene to assess the situation. So vote for Prop B.
My dad's a retired firefighter.
My dad's retired
I re-
firefighter
you know,
too.
See, he's
City
It's a
Institute,
tough one to just say to
67.
vote for, but
my
Again,
dad was at 72.
vote for Prop B today. Vote for Prop B.
Period of time. He never retired at this.
Oh, and special guest we have today is Bo Bowen,
Oh
attorney and
David did.
Ninja Warrior.
my
We'll
God.
get to that later.
I bet you they know.
But
I
again,
know they do.
Y'all tune in. And again, if you have any questions, put them on here. I'll read them and we'll try to address them through the breaks or through the. If you want to call in, again 713-212-5950. Turn down for what?
I'm gonna turn up the monitor. Sorry. Do you have a studio monitor?
We do have a studio monitor. It's over here. But
Maybe she got it on quiet. Oh, I'm sorry.
ask Shannon.
What am I doing? She looks like I'm in trouble already, folks. She give me the
Oh,
she give me the
you
stink
have
eye.
a call already?
No, I don't hope I don't got a call already.
Voter Day in Clear Lake. Let's see.
Tell me, Eric, you better be quiet. You
Move
gotta
fast,
say
go
some
vote.
stupid stuff.
Okay.
My sister's
Free
having a
hot dogs.
wedding
So if
shower
you're in the Clear Lake area,
today.
y'all make sure y'all
They're
swing
all
by
tuned
the
in. My
Clear Lake
sister is
area
having a wedding shower today. She's tuned in.
tailgate party.
Shout out.
Shelly Rogers, where can they? Where's that located? Where can they go
You
for
need
that
to give a
tailgate
shout.
party?
She also works for me.
My sister works for me too, man. Small business.
She just completed paralegal school. So for her, it's a big deal. I'm very proud of her.
Oh
She turned herself around, finally settling down, growing up, we mature smart.
But you mature.
Eventually, I hear that wave right there, man. And I'm getting a cowlick right here.
So you might want to look at the criminal. So what happens with the PI? Some of the big PI firms, they'll refer after a settlement is like get hit, then they'll refer them to another lawyer.
And if you haven't voted yet, drop me a message or drop me a line down here posting this in this video. Why haven't you voted? What is the hesitancy? What issues are you having deciding between? Maybe I can help you come to a conclusion as to why you feel comfortable going to vote sometime soon. All right, so if you're in the Clear Lake area, Friedman Library, they're having a tailgate party out there. Hot dogs, probably some beverages, water, and great company. And you can do that all while you're voting. So make sure y'all go down to Friedman Library.
You do it after they get a big settlement.
Yes.
Use the settlement
To fund me, get the full retainer.
There you go.
Also, we'll talk about this in a minute, but if you have nothing going on right now, you can head over to 3314 Lyons Avenue. Phil Paul Bookstore just opened. Hundreds of thousands of books for $2 and $4. Legal books, medical books, all kinds of books. Go check it out. Phil Paul's always been next to the community, and now he's opened up a bookstore over in Fifth Ward. And I went by there earlier, and so make sure y'all check that out as
Very
well.
much in the use influence through emotion versus just the facts. People make a decision based on.
If there's any topics y'all want to hear myself, Eric Dick, and Bo Bowen discuss today, drop those in there too. We'll try to fit it in. It's a 30-minute show, then we got to cut to the U of H game. But here we go.
Oh no, they're gonna make us go in the air, folks.
After traffic should come here and show you. You know, they've never heard the intro, I don't think. On the live feed,
What do we have on?
when I go on Facebook Live, because we don't have the monitor going when the intro plays. Yeah, so they'll hear it.
I can turn the monitor on, but I don't hear it in here. It'll kick on in a minute. The audio will kick on.
I want y'all to hear the intro because y'all never heard the intro.
Yeah, the intro is pretty funny.
Okay, we'll talk about the caravan of immigrants. You do immigration law, right?
What, no, sir. No
Oh, I
immigration.
thought you did every color law, man.
Not total, almost, but not quite.
If they bring cash, he might.
That's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
For enough money, I'll learn it quickly.
For retainers, we might make an exception.
When you've got big problems, you need to have a big you need Eric Dick,
Oh my
homeowner,
goodness.
insurance lawyer, and trustee for the Harris County Department of Education.
That's good.
I can't believe that they actually play that on radio. They sit there and they say you need a big Eric Dick.
Hey,
Huh.
it's true. I mean, do you not need someone who's always going to fight in your corner when you're faced with these legal problems?
Absolutely. And that, if you want to get ran over, you don't get an attorney. I mean, even I get an attorney whenever I have a legal problem. No joke. I get traffic tickets. I call the Kubosh. I put a Kubosh on it.
There you go. Because when you're facing problems, especially homeowners, when you're facing problems with the big insurance companies, there's only one person you need to call, and that's Houston homeowners attorney, insurance lawyer, Eric B. Dick. Welcome to the Eric B. Dick Show. My name is Chris Carmona, joined by Eric B. Dick, and our special guest today is Bo Bowen. Eric,
What up?
there's a lot to talk about today.
There is a lot of juicy stuff. Let's just kind of go into it because we don't have much time. We're getting kicked off a little bit for the U of H show. But right off the bat, let's talk about Prop B with the firefighters. My dad was a firefighter, strongly support the firefighters. In fact, I find it interesting the only people opposing the firefighters are Mayor Turner and big business. Everybody else, you have Kingwood Tea Party, you have Terry Lowry, you have Gary Pollan, you have just the grassroots Republicans, you have the grassroots Democrats, you have independents, all saying,
And that's
we need to
important
take
to
care of
notice.
the
Is
firefighters.
you said the grassroots because the grassroots political activists in the city or in the county, they understand what being responsible with your money is. And if people ask me all the time, I know they've asked you, should they vote yes or no on Prop B? And I think we're in agreement that in order to have the city rein in their spending, There's only one way to go on Prop B, and that's vote yes for Prop B.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, every time I've ran for city council, mayor, when I got 11% more than Adrian Garcia and Chris Bell, I did really good, surprisingly. But whenever I ran, it was on a very simple platform, the same platform Rob Mossbecker ran on, the same platform Orlando Sanchez, the same platform Bill King ran on. And that's bring spending to the basics: public safety, infrastructure, your basic city services. Those are the things you want to spend money on. What you don't want to spend money on is like art projects and those type of things. You don't want to spend it unless you have extra money. But you got to focus on the necessities. Do a good job at it. You know, make sure we have adequate firefighters and police officers. Adequate police officers. Make sure our streets are fixed. Those are the things that we have to do as a city, and those are the things we don't necessarily do right. And what this prop does is it forces the city to pay more money, to focus more of its resources on public safety, what it should have already been doing in the first place. It's a very good proposition, and the city cannot raise taxes. It's like you get your cake and you can eat it too.
And that's the best part. You can't raise taxes. Pay parity is brought into effect because the firefighters in the city of Houston are making less than across the nation for the same type of market, correct?
Yeah, firefighters, they start off making $27,000 a year. And I just, you know, what I'm always worried about, what I always joke about is if I'm stroking out, I don't want the poor firefighters, you know, they're sleepy because they had to work at Chick-fil-A the day before. And those are serious concerns. Bo, your dad was a firefighter. What do you think?
I have to agree with you. If you want to support the firefighters, you need to support Proposition B.
It's just plain and simple.
Plain and simple. And, you know, one of the things that by supporting this and reining in the city spending, some of the programs that may be cut out is additional funding being sent to the city of Houston public libraries for unnecessary services they're rendering.
That's true.
Let's talk about one of the things that's being controversial right now, and that's of the drag queen hour at some of the city libraries.
Sure. So, just kind of a way of background, you know, I'm not against per se the idea of a drag queen hour. I think it's kind of funny. Like, my thought is, I mean, why are we doing it necessarily? Why are we using public money for this? And they're saying, no, there's no real public money with it, but there kind of is. The library's kind of advertising it. They're kind of promoting it. They're spending their resources pushing this. And then it kind of gets interesting because you have secular humanism versus non-secular humanism. And these are complicated mumbo-jumbo words.
They sound like it.
They are. Basically, it's the idea that it's like Christian viewpoints of, you know, believing marriage is a man and a woman, that being the idea of a religion, and then non-Christian viewpoints. And the point that, that, you know, you can have these non-Christian viewpoints there pushing this agenda at the library and not be able to have the counterpart there, that's where it's not fair. And that's where I kind of have a problem with it. I think that if you know, people could go there and say, look, marriage is between a man and a woman, this is what we believe, then, you know, it kind of evens the playing field. But there's another thing that really kind of makes me cringe is I have 2 small kiddos, and that's not really something I want to introduce them to if we were going to the library to, you know, get books and stuff like that. I mean, we kind of want to avoid it at that point. I don't really want to start having to explain to my daughters why this guy's dressed up like a girl.
Now, what do you say to the proponents of this hour that say, you know, you choose to go to the public library, and you could always say, you know what, for this hour, I'm not going to go there. Should you have to rearrange your schedule to fit into the city of Houston's agenda as it relates to the drag queen story hour?
I just don't think I don't think it's really fair. And I don't think you should have to look at, you know, the schedule whenever you just want to go to a public place and, you know, learn, teach your, you know, bring your kids to, you know, the library. I'm fine with it being in a private place. In fact, I'd probably go. I think it's at minimum entertaining. I think it really is entertaining. And I think, you know, that it brings, I could see the diversity argument, you know.
Because the mayor has made a diversity argument saying we have a very diverse city. This is just reflective of our culture. This is reflective of our city. And he sees no problem with it, thinks that it's a frivolous lawsuit, is going to get thrown out.
Well, but the city gets sued a lot of times for what they would consider frivolous stuff, like criminalizing feeding the homeless,
That's
all
true.
sorts of stuff. Bo, what do you think? What do you think?
never really thought about the way you put it to me, Dick. You're right. I didn't think about my kids being there when I first heard of it. I was like, yeah, it's kind of humorous. It's a neat approach. I don't really understand why this lawsuit even started, in my humble opinion. As I understand it, they weren't letting someone else go, and that's what the argument's about. Or was it simply because of the fact that they have the, what was the title you used?
It's secular humanism.
Secular humanism. Yeah.
Yeah, and so apparently the impetus of this was that the same type of for a traditional marriage couple to go in there and have a story time was denied when the drag queen hour was actually given a clearance to go ahead. And so
And this is some really juicy stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to get right back in it.
we're
And
good
talk
because there
about
are some
this.
alternatives to a public library. We'll talk about that when we come back from the break as well.
We'll be back. Eric Dick Show. Thanks, folks.
Roseanne, exactly. That's what we've been saying. Roseanne, exactly. That's the thing, is that equal time isn't being given to all types of diversity. Since a diverse city, even traditional married couples, if they want to go in there, they're being denied. So that's why the
I'm
lawsuit
doing
was
live on
initiated.
Facebook.
So it's not really a thing about against drag queen story hour. It's more of the equal application of the City of Houston Library rules. So, but going back to your point on the EMS, yes, it is. I mean, the firefighters do provide emergency medical treatment.
And also,
and emergency
we got a
medical
good,
services.
we got a good group.
So they're tied into that somehow. Now, should there be a specific EMT team? Most counties, I think they do have that, but City of Houston firefighters are part of EMT.
Very much so.
Yeah.
First responders.
Yeah. So
We're doing a lot more than the firefighters. The ambulance people should pay because of that.
yeah. When the city they make money off the ambulance. Because remember, they trained by 2010 or 11, they jumped the ambulance fee. So if you had to actually get a fee to get up there to come service you for a reason, they went from I think 250 like 500 or 600 bucks.
And they're making money.
Yeah.
One of the few claims you can't negotiate with first inventory.
That's right. I'll tell you what's kind of effed up the most is now you have like the police officers on one side fighting with the firefighters, and you shouldn't.
Guns and hoses have always been at each other.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be like this. It shouldn't be at each other's throat. I don't think that they haven't been like this, because there's been plenty of times where I've heard firefighters like they get in trouble and police officers like, you guys are just dumb, just move on, and that type of stuff, which it shouldn't really be happening. But my point is that those organizations have historically got along.
They have, but now they're forced to be put against each other.
That's really
But here's the thing, man: the firefighters have typically always gone with liberal candidates.
So has the police officers.
Police officers more of a more conservative scorecard. I'm not saying it's a very conservative scorecard.
You're right,
But
I'm not saying they
overall,
they
the firefighters and the firefighter union,
did dig their grave.
they have entrusted a lot
I know
to this
they,
mayor, to this city council. So
they spend a lot of energy getting
that's
this
why it's
right.
like the sympathy level is not really all there. But
I
so how does the fire department transfer you to the hospital if you need emergency care? They come out there with ambulances. The Houston Fire Department has ambulances. They don't just have fire trucks. They actually have ambulances.
And rescue trucks.
Yeah,
And special,
trucks.
their own special kind of welfare departments where
Yeah.
people are doing high-rise rescues and stuff.
Yeah, they don't just put you on a ladder and say, "All right, come on, we're taking you to the hospital." Although that would be entertaining to see and watch.
Are they sprayed out with the hose a
Yeah.
little bit? You
I see
thirsty?
blood. Let's spray it down.
And now it's washed it off. You're good. Oh man.
What's redundant? What part is having a firefighter? The fire department is not needed. Well, who's going to put out the fires?
We definitely need the fire department. Oh,
They do multiple things.
how do you not need the fire department? I don't get it. I don't get it, Chris. How do you not need the fire department?
I don't know. I guess the fire department can only do fires and should not be in the business of medical necessities or medical attention.
Then what do you do when you stroke out? You better get Sarah jumping in the car, driving you to the hospital. You stroking out. Don't call 911. They don't care.
Or you go to private industry and private entities for your emergency medical needs. I don't know. But if y'all have any type of suggestion or input on that, 713-212-5950. Dick, when we left off, we were talking about the City of Houston and their libraries. And well, it's going to be interesting to see how this lawsuit plays out. But if people don't feel comfortable going to the library now, they want to read some books, where can they go today that's having the grand opening?
Philip Paul Bryant's bookstore, PPB, He is Philip blows me away with his level of enterprise. That guy, he has so many different businesses, and they're all fascinating businesses. He has his bookstore that's just opening, and books are just dirt cheap, and it's a great chance. This is like kind of like a little hidden gem that you want to support, because you can go get books $2 or $3 that you normally would pay $5, $6, $10 somewhere else.
There's some $20 books. I was there earlier. Again, it's 3314 Lyons Avenue. It's called Phil Paul Books. Great opening today. They have kids' books for $2, over 15,000 books for under $4. And if you want a great opportunity to get some books for real cheap and support the community at the same time, check that place out.
Philip does a lot of cool stuff. He does the backpack to Fifth Ward every year, where you have a lot of great family law judges that are up for re-election, like your Sherry Dean, all those folks.
Alicia Franklin.
Right
there. James Lamborghino. And that's the thing. Voting is taking place right now. If you have not voted, you still have this weekend and as well as next week, the Friday at 7 p.m. to go out and early vote in Harris County. There's rumors there's a lot of irregularities going on this year, and it's more or less people are saying, you know what are you going to do about it? I'm going in. I don't care if I have ID. I don't care if somebody's helping me vote. What are you going to do to stop me? What are they going to do to stop irregular voting and voter fraud?
Not look at the party because there's too much corruption. I mean, one thing I wanted to talk about, because there's this fast and furious show here, is I saw HRBC's endorsements, and I'm just appalled. This organization, who the chairman is the financial chair of the Harris County Republican Party, it's endorsing Democrats, and not only is it endorsing Democrats, it's kind of a sexist organization. This is a big business organization. They're refusing to endorse Erin Swanson, who's this young gal. She ousted a corrupt incumbent, Teresa Chang, who's just an incompetent judge. And they're so mad at her for doing that. And they're mad that she's a young, attractive woman. They are not endorsing her. And what I find just so appalling is I'm convinced that if she was a man, they would endorse her. But for her being a female, being a young female, they aren't endorsing her. They think, this is what I feel, is they think that because she's a woman, she's not capable to be a judge at that age. And it's just wrong.
So this is another instance of another conservative, quote unquote, conservative group endorsing Democrats, kind of in line with what Ed Emmett has done before, correct?
Well, it's much worse than this, because these are people that are in power in the local Republican Party. And there's a lot of this is just big business, just buying stuff. When they cry about pay for play, and Terry Lowry, who's not pay for play, by the way, they cry about that. Big business does it all the time. They pour hundreds of thousands of dollars. I remember there was a chairman race with the local Republican Party. They spent $500,000. And the person that ran against their incumbent spent $5,000. Barely lost that race. Just barely lost.
So much money being wasted right there in local politics. But again, if y'all haven't voted yet, get out there. Vote. Voting is important. Elections matter. So vote early, vote often.
Let's go to our guest.
Yeah, today's guest speaker we have today in the studio is Houston local attorney Bo Bowen.
Yes, sir. Hi. Thank you all for having me.
And so, Bo, interesting background you have. You are former military.
Yes, sir. Navy.
And then currently you are in the process of training to become an American Ninja Warrior.
Which is awesome. You're American Ninja Lawyer.
Yeah, and that should be your new marketing gimmick right there. You can pay Dick the residuals on that. But what does a lawyer, someone who has, you have two daughters, right?
Yes, sir. 8 and 3. Edwin and Karis. Hey, girls.
There you go. Hope they're listening. So a full-time dad, full-time attorney. How do you make time, and why would you want to make time to become the next American Ninja Warrior?
For me, it's mainly getting the time with my family. Me and my daughters have daughter date nights up there at Iron Sports Gym off of 1916 Cutting Road, which is where all the top ninjas train here in Houston. There's nothing better than having your daughters tied off to you, hanging from the ceiling. You're the one letting them down. You're the belay man. That trust, that bonding, you can't get anywhere else.
Hey, so can you do ninja rolls, like true ninja rolls, where you back it up and then just do a backflip, front flip?
I can now do a forward roll, not a backflip just yet. I'm still mastering the list shade. That's where you take your body and you throw yourself forward and you catch things. I'm still at the very, very basic levels. I'm no Daniel Gill yet.
And Daniel Gill's a local legend, right?
Yes, sir. He is by far the #1 competitor right now for these Americans in Ninja Warrior.
Okay,
He trains at the same gym.
It's just amazing that you have this family lawyer by day, American Ninja by night. And it's really
It's
awesome.
like a superhero.
It is a superhero. It's a crime fighter. And during the day, he's helping people out, with their will, fights,
Fight over property, fight over division of the kids. I mean, property, everything. So if you're not fighting corruption in the courtroom, you're not fighting against the people outside of the courtroom. You're probably in your office taking in clients, right?
Yes, sir. A lot of client consultation.
So what is the biggest thing you're seeing, at least in the family law arena, of other than divorces? Like, what are people facing right now in the community? What's ailing them, and why are they coming to see you?
Well, the majority of our come because unfortunately, the family is broken down. The husband and wife relationship has fallen to the wayside. The more problem I see is they're waiting too long to seek an attorney. They're trying to do it themselves. They get the paperwork offline. Then they waste all that time initiating it. They have to pay us to fix everything, and then the process takes that much longer. And of course, through that period of time, they're fighting more, they're losing more instead of trying to work together. It's best to come in sometimes, rip that Band-Aid off, and then learn how to co-parent. That squabbling in between is what really causes those relationships to fail. And I'm talking about the children. They're the ones that suffer this whole time.
It also causes resentment and, people just fighting over all that time. So on the flip side, isn't someone having a wedding today? Or
That is correct. My baby sister's having her wedding shower today. Her name is Joanna Bowen, soon to be Joanna Sanders. She finally found the man of her dreams. You know who I'm talking to, Marvin. You're a lucky man. And I hope they're listening. I love you.
Melissa,
Love you.
yeah, Melissa Smith's getting married too at the board that I'm at. Congratulations, Melissa. So if people wanted to contact your law firm, how would they do that, Bo?
The best way to reach us is 713-574-7777. That main line again is 713-574-7777. You can also find us on the web at www.bowen, BOWENLF, as in lawfirm.com.
Now, Bo, I always try to throw out questions for our guests, legal questions that are out of the ordinary. Let me kick this one to you. So you have a couple that have been together for about 5 to 7 years, right? But each one is currently married to someone else, but those spouses are somewhere else, right? So over this 5 or 7 years, they've acquired a purchase of a home. They've been living in that home. They break up, but they can't do anything about that, or can they, since they're still technically married to other people? What's the remedy on that? How does someone not get kicked out of the house? How do they fight over the house? Who stays in the house? What do you think, Bo?
So making sure we have 2 people who are married, and then they break up and they get with other people and they buy new property?
Yes.
Okay, well, unfortunately in Texas, you can't do more than one marriage. It's called bigamy. So you can't have a new marriage until the first one is ended. So if you're then buying property together as a married couple with someone else, that property is still considered community property. So they would have every half, and the other side would then have half, meaning their spouse they're currently married to. Because as soon as you buy anything when you're married, again, after the marriage date, whether you leave them, there's no legal separation in Texas.
And Chris is taking notes here because actually those people came to his office yesterday.
They called me yesterday. I'm trying to get a good answer for them. But the thing is, and that's the thing is, so now, whether you wanted to or not, if this was a secret affair for 5 or 7 years, are they going to have to now bring in those spouses they were keeping secret to try to finally get rid of this property?
Yes, sir, especially their names on it. It's going to make it difficult. I encourage you to get them all together, reach inside a sort of settlement, see what everyone wants. Try to get them to work together. Otherwise, this will be in court for a little bit.
So, and also, is it a formal marriage or is it a common law marriage? Because, common law is a little bit interesting than it is in a formal marriage.
Well, common law or informal marriages, as defined out in statute, the number one thing you have to look at is, was there an agreement between the parties? If the parties had an agreement to be married, we're done. They're going to say it, you move on.
But isn't there a statute of limitations, or is there some type of after some point in time with the common law marriage, is it not presumed, or is there some type of?
No, sir, you can be together for 100 years, together for 2 years. It really depends on the parties themselves and the totality of the circumstances. The number one being the agreement amongst the parties to be married.
And then they have to also do something to show the agreement, usually like a ring or something like that.
Hold themselves out is another big one. That they file income tax together, hold themselves as married to a government agency. That's a good indication they were married. How they introduce themselves to other parties as well. If they're at the supermarket, hey, this is my wife, Allison. They just held themselves out as being a married couple. If the wife doesn't say anything, should be assuming they're married and so are everyone else, including the court.
And so if they want to go ahead and wind down that marriage, even though it's considered common law, they still have to go through the formal process of a divorce at that point, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
And if they go to the divorce and they go through mediation and they get an MSA, a mediated settlement agreement,
Yes, sir.
is that full and final in the state of Texas?
Yes, sir. I'm going to tell you, in Ray Stephanie's the case, all you're going to read with that, it has made mediations powerful. It is irrevocable once it's signed. And in fact, another good Republican judge, Judge Farr, he got overruled on the case, Minks versus Minks, where the parties themselves came up to the bench and both of them wanted to revocate or reject the MSA. Court of Appeals said, no, you're stuck with it. Enforce
Wow.
Well, there you are.
That's tough.
Be careful when you go to mediation, and don't try to back out. Be serious.
And if you go through mediation for any type of homeowners claims and it's unsuccessful, or if you go through the appraisal process and it's unsuccessful, or you go through arbitration and it's not binding, well, you can always hire a Dick. That's Eric B. Dick, Texas and Houston's homeowners insurance attorney. Eric, how's it going over in the insurance field right now? Any cases coming up?
Oh, there's a lot of cases, man. I've represented a whole ton of people from Hurricane Harvey, and what I've been shocked with is the majority of the people I've represented, they've been underpaid. And when I say the majority, like I've represented thousands of people, and it's just sad seeing, you know, how the level of people have been underpaid. Some of them have been underpaid like tens, $20,000, $30,000. So I do everything I can to get them paid right. Folks, this has been a good time. I'm going to have to see you next week. They're cutting me off. They're saying no more free advice. Eric, you've given out too much free legal advice. No more. Cut it off.
It's because Eric Dick will protect you in the fight against homeowners insurance or any type of insurance company. Make sure you call Eric B. Dick at the Dick Law Firm. Thanks to our guest, Bo Bowen. Thanks, producer Shannon. I'm
Thank
Chris
you.
Carmona. Eric Dick, take us away.
Thanks, folks. See you next week. Thank you, producer Shannon. Bye-bye, folks. We're gone. Thanks, guys, for listening. We're gone.
And
Hope
thank
I
you for
didn't get in
tuning
too
in.
much trouble.
Roseanne, thanks for the great
Hope I didn't get in too much trouble,
Niall,
folks. You have a good
Thanks
one.
for your contribution as well. Shelly Rogers, thank you for your contribution again.
Opinions provided on the Eric Dick Show are for informational purposes only and not for the purpose of providing legal advice. You should contact your attorney to obtain advice with respect to any particular issue or problem. The opinions expressed on the Eric Dick Show are that of the hosts and guests and do not reflect the opinions of this station or iHeartMedia.
When you've got big problems, you need to have a big, you need Eric Dick, homeowner insurance lawyer and trustee for the Harris County Department of Education. This is the Eric Dick Show.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on the very first ever Eric Dick Show. Exciting with yours truly as a guest. I have my wingman, Chris Carmona.
Hello, hello.
Another fantastic attorney in the Houston area. And we are going to talk about a lot of really exciting stuff. I know, you know, I really get excited when I talk about homeowners insurance.
I know you do, man. And, you know, you mentioned homeowners insurance, and, you know, it's hard not to mention the end of August and then to think of the end of August last year, what we had with Harvey.
Oh, how can I forget Harvey? Oh, the storm that overwhelmed me. Let's start talking about Harvey, because it was an interesting time in Houston last year. We're talking, and this is almost, I think tomorrow is the anniversary.
Yeah.
I think one thing, if we're just talking straight up with Harvey, that people need to know that a lot of people don't understand is if you do have I'm going to start going lawyer here, so you guys are going to have to forgive me. I'm going to start.
It is a legal show.
It is a legal show. I'm going to start dropping information that's pretty important. So if you have a flood insurance policy, I commonly refer to it as NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program. It's really important that you file your proof of loss by tomorrow. Well, actually not tomorrow, by Monday. which would be the 1 year anniversary. If you've already filed a proof of loss, no big deal. But if you haven't filed a proof of loss, so let me kind of back up a little bit. If you were flooded by Harvey, if
you have any property damage that was related from the storm of Harvey last year, they probably want to take your advice pretty seriously right now, because there's a lot of people that have been hurt by this financially. And it's been a long process, with FEMA not being responsive as we thought they were going to be, with the city, with different charity organizations. Some people just have no help coming to them, right? And so if they need legal assistance, what is the pathway that they should have been following? And it's not too late to still go on and get this done by the deadline of the 1 year anniversary, right?
For flood, if you're talking wind, if you're talking other stuff, it's different. But for flood, if you have a dispute as to your loss, it's pretty much, Monday's the deadline to file your proof of loss, and you absolutely have to file a proof of loss. After you file the proof of loss, you can go back, you can dispute it, you could whatever, you can have your fight, but you have a 1 year deadline. It usually it's like 30 days or 60 days, but they extended it to 1 year. So you have to file that proof of loss if you have a dispute with your flood insurance policy. Now, if it's there's a lot of other things that happened with Hurricane Harvey that we could talk about, but I just really wanted to emphasize, and I'll probably emphasize that a bit with that 1 year proof of loss, because not many people are talking about it. A lot of people don't understand it, but you can get that form online for the proof of loss, but it has to be filed within 1 year. I just want to say that a lot so people. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's really important because you lose all your claims.
Now, can they find that? Can they find that form at the Dick Law Firm website?
I imagine they could. If I don't really do flood insurance claims very much. I do a few of them because I typically do first party insurance with my firm. If they called me or messaged me, I'd point you the right direction. But it's not really. And I'm not trying to get business from this at all. In fact, I kind of don't really want the business. I'm just trying to provide basic information that people should know. I'd hope they know, and they don't. But it's just not explained enough about the 1 year proof of loss.
And no one's going to highlight this and promote, come and file a claim by Monday. So it's a good thing that you're actually here today telling all the listeners about this 1 year deadline to make sure that they do get that proof of claim in if they do have one before the deadline, correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's only for the flood insurance policies. The windstorm and all that is a completely different beast. It's completely different type of stuff. And we could, naturally, I guess we could talk about the windstorm a little bit. And I'll talk about insurance so I'm blue in my face. And again, it's horribly exciting stuff. People live on Facebook see the faces I'm making. Okay, so the windstorm, that's interesting. There was a lot of, whenever Harvey hit, there was maybe those that were here. Remember, there's a number of little tornadoes that tagged along all over the city, north side. Right after Harvey, I physically inspected a couple of buildings, and I was kind of amazed by the amount of wind damage. Where you had one building where the roof was torn off, where they flooded both ways, from the bottom up and the top down. And you see a lot of that in Houston. And what's sad, just from my own personal experience, is a number of insurance companies, they just take this hard position that there just wasn't any wind damage at all, that Harvey was just a water event, and that's all it was. There's only flood. It didn't involve there was no winds, and it's just not true. And it just simply isn't true. Unless the stuff I've seen firsthand, and many of other people have suffered with the windstorm and the wind damages and the tornadoes that came through. So it's just sad that's kind of the state of affairs. I don't want to dwell on this whole insurance too much.
And that's the thing. We've, as we approach the 1 year anniversary of Harvey, there's still a lot of families out there that haven't been given the assistance needed. And so, it's always right to make sure we remember those who have lost items. And, there were some lost lives in Harvey as well. One of Houston's most tragic events overall. And so when people and families are trying to rebuild their life, a year later, there's still things that need to be done. It's a good thing we have lawyers like Eric B. Dick there to make sure that they can advocate for people and for families to make sure that they can get their house back in order, even as we approach the 1 year mark.
But it was just more than windstorm and flooding. You had a number of other factors kind of going on. You had the chemical plant that exploded that wasn't really expected, and that caused a lot of damage, a lot of craziness.
A lot of collateral damage, just from the floods, the winds, everything that's associated with a catastrophic event. So Eric B. Dick, Chris Carmona, we'll be back after this short break.
Thank you guys so much. I didn't hear the trigger. I guess
when she said 30 seconds, I was like, oh. I didn't hear the music till around 35.
I heard something. We'll get better. That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Were we okay? Was our volume all right? Tone? Okay.
Can y'all hear okay? Oh,
phone call.
Can you guys hear okay?
It might not be
Yeah, he
your
gave the
fault.
thumbs up.
It might be
Yes,
that
good.
you have an honest disagreement, or an honest mistake, but you don't want to go
All right,
against
so
the
when
IRS.
we come back from this break,
You need to call Top
what is that?
Tax
Phillips said
Defense.
anything? Is he
They
here?
have a local
I don't know.
All of our phones are
and this is what they
recording
do.
something right now.
Oh, Philip's calling right now.
They know
Is he?
how to
Yeah.
deal with the IRS. And frankly,
You hear Philip?
if you owe
doing
$10,000
good.
or more to
Okay.
the IRS,
Hey, Chris, go down and get Philip.
professional help, and Top
I'll be right
Tax
back.
Defenders
Chris, come down.
can give it. 713-489-7433. 713-489-7433. What's at stake here? You're dealing with the IRS. Think about it for a minute. Are you going to go that alone? No. Call
I hope I didn't throw you off.
No, I'm okay.
professionals. Call
I didn't mind at all.
all day.
I'll get lost in just blabbing.
Oh, you're fine.
24,
Yeah, I'll give you a 30-second mark and then a 10-second. And so I could just do it with my hands if that's better for you, or I can do it in your ear.
It's in my ears better because I'm more distracted with all the information.
Understandable.
That depends. Are you a fan?
No, I'm disgusted that you just sexually assaulted me.
Oh, well, in that case, my name is Brian Williams.
No, it isn't. You're lying, just like Brian Williams does. Except you're not Brian Williams. I knew I should have gotten that concrete sidewalk fixed.
Sounds like someone should have called Southern Concrete Raising. Southern Concrete Raising is Houston's finest leveling and raising specialists. They fix concrete with no gimmicks. Don't let that crack in your sidewalk create a legal problem for you just because you were too busy to get it fixed. My friend Ty Strickland can send someone over to your property free of charge to give you a quote on your concrete. You don't even have to be there when they come by. They'll take care of everything. Find them online at SouthernConcreteRaising.com.
Okay, give me those headphones. Come plug in over here.
It's Greg Mike from 50 Plus. If you haven't taken a look lately at the UT Health Science Center Consortium on Aging website, you need to do
Realize
so.
this
They've
is still
freshened it up. There is so much information.
We're
there.
back. Sorry about that.
People like you, people
Dumped y'all on the
who are
side.
a little bit older
That's negligent.
and want to talk to somebody who knows people who are focused on our care, on geriatric medicine. I'm not geriatric yet, but hey, I'm old.
Where you gonna sit? You gonna sit over there?
Yeah,
Oh, with a plug in over here.
UTH.edu/aging. That's UTH.edu/aging.
So I just discovered DazzleMe.com. It started out as the jewelry department at the Home Consignment Center, and now their entire jewelry collection, one of my rings is there as well. That's on DazzleMe.com. From the big name
All right, so we'll transition. We'll talk about
to the unique design.
talk about the,
Still talk about Harvey.
else.
We can talk a little bit more about Harvey.
Yeah.
I know
And with free
people on my
shipping.
Facebook want me to
Visit
talk a little bit about
DazzleMe.com
Twitter,
today. See what the
which is a
buzz
big mess in
all
itself.
about.
And I know they want me to talk a little bit about
Tonight.
Beto and Cruz, which is a really fascinating thing. But
2 points, 4 points close.
I think Cruz could lose that. Cruz really.
40 seconds.
Whole that sponsors lots of stuff around the country club so we can bring in.
So, give us some feedback what you think right now. It's our first live segment ever. I'm the air. Myself, Eric Dick. We just got a new guest in today. Philip Paul Bryant just walked in the studio. So, but drop some comments, man. Let us know how we're doing. What do you want to hear? We're going to talk about Harvey a lot today and going back to school. We'll throw a little bit of politics in at the end or somewhere where we can fit it. But send us our questions and we'll give a call-in number in a minute. Y'all can call up here.
On KPRC 950.
Okay. All right. Am I on? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Oh, so exciting. We're back. Back for more. Couldn't get enough.
Welcome back to the Eric Dick Show on KPRC 950 AM. Eric, so when we left off, man, we were talking about Harvey and its devastation. And just so we make sure we have everybody on the same page when it comes to the flood claims, they can go to FEMA.gov and actually pick up that application.
Yes.
Correct.
And it's a proof of loss. Its deadline is Monday. It's 1 year. It was extended to 1 year. That's just, and I know we've talked about that a lot, but it doesn't hurt to say it again. But something else to talk about is so we're going with Harvey and all that. So TWIA, Texas Windstorm Insurance Association, which is kind of a nightmare in itself. There's been a lot of problems with TWIA, to be fair, since its conception. This isn't the first time that there are big problems with TWIA. TWIA is basically the last resort insurance company. It's government funded. It's for people off the coast, Galveston, Brazoria County, Corpus Christi, right off the coast. So whenever Harvey hit, it primarily did hit people that had policies with Texas Windstorm. I bring this up, the problems that Texas Windstorm has had in the past. So whenever Hurricane Ike was going on, they got in a lot of trouble. They basically decided that they just weren't going to pay anything, basically. And I know that's probably abbreviating too much.
And it's only gotten worse since that time, right? I mean, we keep passing some laws to make it harder for homeowners to actually recover. And TWIA is a big part of that, correct?
And then we wonder why the race between Beto and Ted Cruz is so close. And don't get me wrong, I'm voting for Ted Cruz, but we wonder why it's so close whenever we pass laws that are anti-consumer, that are anti-people.
Yeah, there seems to be a trend to hurt the little guy over and over again. And then when we have these events, like we had an Ike and then we have a Harvey, we got to be careful about who we're actually protecting, because we start hurting all the homeowners and the consumers. It's just going to be a long road for everybody who's in power right now.
It's not going to be a long road. They're going to lose. I mean, and Ted Cruz should be completely scared, and he is acting scared, as he should be, because you've got Beto. And I'm not saying Beto's a better candidate, because he's not. But what's going on with Beto is he has a good message. He's saying no more corruption. I'm done with corruption. I mean, is he really? I don't know about that. But he's saying no more corruption. I'm not taking PAC money. And he's getting some movement. I mean, he really could win.
I mean, he's not taking PAC money, but he's taking all kinds of foreign money outside the great state of Texas. But yeah, I mean, great point. I mean, especially at the federal level, when we have these natural disasters, we turn to the federal government to do the emergency aid. And, did we see anything put forward recently or last year that actually going to protect these consumers? Is Beto going to campaign on that? Is Cruz going to be able to recover from that? Is he going to make that a huge campaign issue between now and November?
It absolutely could happen. I mean, I don't think Ted Cruz is going to embrace, and it's unfortunate, but I don't think Ted Cruz is going to embrace consumerism. I don't think he is. I wish he would. I think it would help him. I don't think he is. I hope that more people, Republicans at the local level, embrace consumerism, because it's their constituents. It's literally their constituents. And whenever they side with special interest, big money, big business over individuals, I mean, what do you expect? They're going to vote, especially with the Hurricane Harvey. So you had a new law that went into place like literally 2 weeks or the week of Hurricane Harvey. I think it might have even been maybe a couple days of Hurricane Harvey, 542A. And so this put
the Texas Insurance Code 542A, right?
Yes, Texas Insurance Code 542A. And this was, and I'm gonna give you some quotes, because quote, greedy lawyers were filing claims, and that this is the rationale, because greedy evil lawyers were filing claims, even though they're filing on behalf of their people that they're hired for. But you know, lawyers only good whenever I guess you need one, right? And that's the joke. So these big bad lawyers,
but it's greedy trial lawyers. You got to make sure you put that in there. Greedy trial lawyers.
Yeah, because I mean, considering that there's more lawyers on the Republican side than there are the Democrat side, it's just nonsensical. It's just all that is. It's just big money being funneled from special interests for propaganda, and it's corruption, and there's a lot of stuff going on with that. But so you had that being pushed. You had the law changed where basically it's difficult. You have to have a high level of precision when you're making your demand letter. If you're not perfectly right, you lose your client's right to recover attorney fees. So guess what happens? It's not hardly any lawyers are interested in the cases. There's a handful of them, and I do those cases, but not a whole lot of attorneys do those cases. You have a market that's needed. You have a bad storm come through, and you have a whole bunch of people upset, and they're upset at a lot of things. But this new law that got pushed by Republicans, that doesn't help. That doesn't help, especially in this year when you have a whole wave coming from Donald Trump. You have a whole national wave being pushed. It doesn't help.
It's the resentment. It's the anti-alt-right movement this year. And when you have people, especially in Harris County and the Houston area and Galveston, remembering Harvey and remembering that the effect it still has on them, they're going to remember that in November. Who's helped them over this past year? Was it Republicans or was it Democrats? Or was it neither?
Of course they are. And I'll tell you, just on a positive, because I'm a positive guy. I've been really impressed with Jack Mormon. Jack Mormon on the local level, our Republicans some of them are really, really good. I imagine there's some there are some that are bad too, but there's some that are really, really good.
We got rid of some of those in the primary, right?
Yeah, some of the extremely corrupt judges, and there's a lot of that going on. We got rid of that, and we're still working. I know we've got, and I'm just going to say, we got a drunk chairman on behalf of the Harris County Republican Party that we got to deal with, but that's not either here or there now. Now what we got to do.
Drunk on liquor or drunk on power?
I think it's both.
Probably both.
It's both. He barely won. It cost $400,000 for him to win that race. Whenever I think his challenger spent maybe $5,000.
Maybe $5,000.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at the dynamics, it's interesting. But I kind of don't want to dwell on that. Let's go. I know we do have a lot of stuff going on because it's back to school, and we got a fantastic guest that we're going to talk to, Philip Paul Bryant.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be here with some good people. Mr. Eric Dick, congratulations on your broadcast, Mr. Chris Cremona. I think this is a well put together show. I think it's really great that you guys are on air giving people legal, I don't know if you're allowed to call it advice or legal direction, for lack of a better word. And so kudos to you guys for taking time out of your day. I know you guys have a million things to do, but thanks for doing this show. Your listeners will be very well pleased and very well educated as a result of that. And as you guys know, coming up on the 1-year anniversary of Harvey, you guys know that for the last year, some of the listeners don't know, but for the last 9 years, Eric Dick, along with other sponsors and underwriters, have made it possible in the Fifth Ward area to be able to give away upwards of 500 or 600 backpacks and school supplies each year. And this year alone, we're well surpassed that. We're almost at 900 backpacks.
900 backpacks.
Supplies. And this is a direct result of charitable giving of Mr. Eric Dick, his other colleagues, some of the judges, Judge Sherry Dean, Judge Roy Moore.
Yeah, don't be shy, Phil. Don't be shy. Let everyone know who these people are to put this thing together.
Alicia York. There's a dozen or so judges who, and just for the record, I want to go on record of saying this. They're not going to get votes from 12-year-old African-American kids in Fifth Ward.
No.
So it's not a political thing. It's not something they do to try to boost their credentials. They do it because they care about others. They care about the kids. And they understand that they're making an investment in the lives of young people. And a kid over in Fifth Ward or Cashmere area, we may very well be the next Mark Zuckerberg or the next Chris Brown or Michael Jackson or LeBron James. And so
they could have used somebody other than Chris Brown. We don't want any domestic violence. but you say that though, and if you listen,
meaning that they're talented. That's the route I was going with.
But if you listen to the names you repeated back in terms of the donations, in terms of the judges, a lot of those are family law judges in Harris County, great family law judges. And I think for them, you hit it, right on the dot, is they don't do it for votes. They do it because they see the litigants day in and day out, every week, every year, coming through those courtrooms. And a lot of the times it's from families that are broken or not of high value, or not, in terms of their financial capital, their financial assets. And they see the effect of not having the proper tools in the home available, whether it's a pencil or a pen. We got to make sure we're equipping the kids properly. And that's what Philip Paul Bryan has been doing for the last 9 years at the Island of Hope Church with his back to school drive.
And it's just an amazing drive. We're going to take a break, guys. Thank you so much. This is Eric Dick, and we got Philip Paul Bryan as a guest, and we'll see you shortly. Thank you guys so much.
First of all, I want to
Good job, Philip. Good job, Dick.
Good job.
Of the Michael Berry Show and our entire station.
I'm not new to this. I'm true to this.
You're welcome. That's a good transition, man.
We're going to have y'all turn on your mics so we don't have any chatter if we're not ready yet. Do you know what I mean? So you see your on button right there?
Yes.
So whenever you're ready to go, hit it on.
So right here?
Yeah, coming back from the break?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yours is right over there. There you go. And then yours is right over there. On. There we go. Perfect.
Okay. So it's off right now.
It's off right now. So whenever you're ready to go.
Cool.
Okay.
How's it sounding?
Sounds great. Sounds really good. Yeah. Have you done radio before?
I played with it when my brother's on air personality. And
oh, cool. All right.
So I played with him sometimes. I used to. I haven't done it in probably 10 years. But.
Comes back. Absolutely. Sounds great, guys.
It's free. 877-717-PTSD. You've got lots of
So if my brother's listening,
yard equipment, ATVs,
constructive feedback.
You name it, and they all use fuel.
Later on, not right now.
These same fluids that make your engine run also create deposits that reduce performance and gas mileage. Come out, multi-system tune-up removes these scummy carbon deposits and stabilizes.
So we're about we're at the halfway mark. So Philip, we're gonna come back out the break.
Get a can today. Just $6.47.
We can transition back out over the after he's done with this segment. Transition back over to Harvey. Now, this tie over there.
I'd like to also talk to, he brushed in some really great judges I'd like to talk about. I think Sherry Dean, she really is tough. Sherry's really good. I'd like to talk about Sherry. Sherry's really just, to be fair, if more Republicans did that, it wouldn't be a sweet county.
Yeah, because Dean and Moore have been doing it from the beginning, right? Or almost from the beginning.
No, actually, first year.
Yeah.
Eric,
2010.
Judge Sheridan and Judge Moore.
713-489.
Actually, Chris Daniels, but he comes in now sometimes.
489.
Oh, CD?
33. What's at stake?
Let me take my face off the camera.
Think about it.
He tries.
The experts call
Oh,
we can also talk about. I don't think we need to talk about the department. We can, but I think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary.
Oh, but we can talk about the bond vote today.
That's really important.
Transition.
The bond vote's really important.
Because that's happening right now. And it ends at what, 7? So you heard this say right when they gave us the countdown when we're going back in. When you hear the music start playing back in, it's breaking in.
And we gotta push the button.
Hit the on button. We go back on.
Like, I got it.
or more.
Kind of just coming back in a while ago. We're like, are they going to say, and we're back?
During the off season,
So
approximately
we'll say that. We can lead in with, and we're back.
Yeah.
police violence or whatever the hell it is.
Make sure you put the show's name, like you said, Very Good Show.
Yeah.
So that way, if they're not listening on air, they're
We
listening.
can take some callers too.
Yeah.
I'll take some callers. Maybe we'll do another segment and take. Well, maybe we'll do half a segment and take callers.
Hey, we'll go back to other the backpacks here, all the list of what they have there. Tell the kids they can bring their school supply list and go shopping. Yeah. So make sure you detail other than backpacks, say everything else they have. Tell the kids to bring their paper and their little list, and they can mark it off and pick up their supplies. And then I'll tell everybody how I just spent so much money. I'm gonna go turn it and then go back.
How much you raise so much money on one?
I spent like $150 on school supplies. I'm about to go get my lift my receipts.
That's funny. You know, he never brings the girls.
KPRC on iHeartRadio.
And we're back for more. Eric Dick with my show, talking about Hurricane Harvey, talking about going back to school, and we have a special guest, Philip Paul Bryant, who does every year Backpack to Fifth Ward with some of the most amazing people that help him.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, did we announce that he was world-renowned author, Philip Paul Bryant?
Y'all forgot to announce
that.
that.
We forgot that
y'all
part.
Forgot to announce that.
Philip Paul, what's the book you have? What's your latest book you have out right
it's
now?
called Death of a Community, How the Church, the Police, and Facebook Are Shaping Our Future. I'm actually working on another piece. I hope to get it released by mid-December. And it's going to be talking about hurricane preparedness, things you can do, actually national disaster preparedness. So things to do in the case of hurricane, tornadoes, terrorist attack, school, active shootings. And so I'm actually going to be working with Attorney Eric Dick on that book. And so we hope to have that out because it's not about just trying to get it out right before hurricane season. So we want to make sure we have everything in there because on a regular basis, we need to make sure that we're prepared and we're preemptive on protecting our homes and our families. And so I'm really excited about that. One other thing I want to make mention of is tomorrow, we mentioned the back to school, the 9th annual. It's going to be tomorrow at 12 noon. It's going to be at the Island of Hope Church. That's 1505 Gregg Street. And that's in Houston, Texas, right there on the corner of Lyons and Gregg. And you go over about one other block and you'll see the big dome church, the Island of Hope Church, Bishop Bryant, the whole team there. And you'll see some judges, unlike where you usually will see them in a robe, in the court, super official. You know, Judge Moore comes there in his shorts. Judge Dean comes there with her grandkids, and Mr. Lance, her husband, volunteers. We still need volunteers, but a lot of times people from their actual court coordinators and stuff like that actually come to the event and volunteer. They don't get paid for this. No one gets paid for it. But it's an investment in the kids and an investment in the community. And also we have some pretty good entertainment because the goal is to not just give the kids the backpacks because, you know, you can just form a line in the park somewhere and hand out backpacks. But the goal is to bring elected officials, people who may be considered role models in our communities and have them all saying to the kids, it's important to stay in school. It's important to get good grades. And we're here, we got your back. So we have a talented, we'll have step teams there, we'll have karate teams performing.
And you got manicures and
manicures and free haircuts, because we want to encourage the kids to, no excuses, right? Everyone's on your side. You got everything you need. We're going to make sure you look good. And so we're super excited about it. This is year 9, so Eric Dick is officially has hood credentials.
He has tenure in the hood now.
He has a hood pass. I come to the Fifth Ward.
I get my pass to Fifth Ward because I got their back and I got their backpack. Yeah, I want to talk
because the brand that was good.
I do like branding. You have to admit that. But Sherry Dean, I've been so impressed with everything she's done with the Backpack to Fifth Ward. She has put in a lot of effort on this. In fact, she called me, and no, she didn't call me. She messaged me, Eric, you better donate this time. Yes, Judge, I'm donating. Yes, Judge. She really takes this personal, and it's kind of amazing seeing her there because she knows the kids. She goes and checks with them every year, make sure they're doing good. And it's really, I'm going to have to say that Sherry Dean is one of the role models, at least in the Republican Party. She should be, because if more people were acting how she acts, and she's doing it in all sincerity, there's nothing but sincerity. But if more Republicans actually cared in the local level, maybe it wouldn't be a swing district. That's just my humble opinion.
When you go into her courtroom, her biggest thing is family matters. Just saying, and she lives that motto. She lives that mantra because everything she does in the courtroom and outside the courtroom is always to better the families and better the kids. And so,
and one other point about Judge Jean, she has a huge heart, and so some of you may not know this, but this past Sunday, her mom actually passed, and I know that her and her family was out in, I believe it was Lufkin this weekend, dealing with that. But when I tell you, in the middle of that family coming together and needing to take care of that, she was still calling and texting every day. She's not doing it for show. She really cares. There's no cameras out there these years. You know, it's just out there doing what it takes to help the kids. And I did want to make mention of a couple other names that she gave me. Judge James Lambino.
Oh, Lamberdino.
Judge
Lamberdino.
Judge John Schmoody.
Schmoody, yes.
Judge Charlie Prime.
Oh, Charlie's a really good guy.
Judge Ron Moore, Judge Alicia York, and of course, Trustee Dick.
Yeah, Judge Prine he's another really great guy. You mentioned a few of them. Judge Schmoody, John Schmoody, he's another. That was an interesting race, and I can talk all about that. Where you had an incumbent that just pushed this policy where if you didn't take a parenting class, you didn't get custody or even visitation. It was just insane, just bad. I mean, you don't want that person in any party. But I'm glad to see that you have that John Schmoody's involved. That of course Charlie Prine is one of the nicest people around. You got good people pushing this, which it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
It is absolutely the right thing to do, and more people need to be trying to help others.
And I want one last thing. I want to make mention that last year was pretty special because obviously with Hurricane Harvey, we actually had to reschedule. As you remember, we actually had to reschedule the back to school event for the following weekend just because that weekend, the fourth Sunday, which would have been around the 27th of August of last year, people were stuck in their homes. People didn't have power. People didn't have proper communication. So we were forced to reschedule the back to school event. And we reached out to our sponsors, Eric Dick and Judge Dean, and we let them know, hey, you know what? I know this is a back to school giveaway, but we need to add some clothes and some food. And our sponsors last year stepped it up, and we were able to give out clothes, food, and other toiletries to the community. And so we're happy that this year we're not needed to give out additional clothes and food.
But you won't turn them away if somebody brings some clothes up there and they have a lot. I mean, because kids do a lot, especially in ISD. A lot of them need the uniforms.
Oh, absolutely. And it's still people are still displaced a year later.
So with this in mind, Harvey going back to school today is also, and there's also some other stuff going on today. You got a bond proposal. Today's the last day. It's election day for to add some more debt, and
and there's a lot of confusion on this bond issue too because when first we had the county judge. Specifically say he wanted this special election because he didn't want to have to campaign for himself and the bond in November. So he asked the governor to set this in August. And the governor's response was, you already have the money coming and it's now, so I don't know why you really need this, but I'll go ahead and set it for you anyways. So when the governor says that, Eric, Phillip, do we need this $2.5 billion additional when the governor already says it's coming?
I don't. But
the thing that I like about it is, in all fairness to Judge Emmett and his team, I know Owens and a few other people down there, they've done a good job, in my opinion. And obviously, you have up until about 7 p.m. today to go vote. But in my opinion, they did a good job to try to spell out street corner by block by block exactly where those funds were going to be allocated towards. So whether or not areas or certain communities need those fundings or need that money, I can say that they were transparent in rolling out there exactly where those monies and where those dollars were going to go. So I appreciate that.
But the money's already, that money that is being, I won't say allocated, but needed for those areas That's already coming from the state, right?
Well, if you've seen some of the devastation out there, and I know you have, Cremona,
Yeah.
so it's a rhetorical question. So going out there and Kojic, we were donated a huge 60,000 square foot facility after Harvey, which Kojic Charities and Kojic Urban Initiatives were able to come in and set up a resource center where people can come get goods and other services. And we took it with Bishop Macklin and Bishop Blake and Bishop Bryant. We took a tour around certain areas. And if you were to see some of those areas and some of the devastation, and it wasn't just poor African American and Hispanic
Everywhere.
communities, it was everywhere. And if you were to see some of those areas, I guarantee it, from my perspective, you can't give enough money to one, to help those people be restored, and two, to try to prevent this from happening again.
And also you have everyone all along Barker Dam that flooded. And
Absolutely.
It's just a big
And none of that
mess.
money touches that area as a project, though, right? So
That's the county. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll talk more about that soon. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're going to take another little break. I've got Phil Paul Bryant as a guest. This is Eric Dick, and Chris Carmona's playing Wingman. Thank you, guys.
Wingman, come on. Oh, Mr. Devil's Advocate over.
No, that was good. That was good
You
content.
Republicans, man, I tell you.
That was good
the
content.
Republicans are supporting it. What are you talking about?
It's just,
Some of the Republicans are.
yeah, some of them are. I'm not necessarily, but it's just
The Ed Emmett Republicans.
it's just good. It's good talk. It's good stuff to talk about. It's good fodder. I do think that if Ed Emmett, if the city did more like how Ed Emmett was like, this is where the money's going, all that, they would have less blowback. With
Yeah.
I think he did.
That was smart on campaign wise to build it out, but yeah, but when Abbott says you don't really need the money because it's coming, you have it around, it should be there by August. But go ahead, let's put it on the ballot.
And Jack Morgan was there saying, "Do we really need to do this?"
Yeah.
You have to give fighting Jack. He's not been doing bad. I've been really impressed with how Jack's been campaigning.
He's finally, yeah. I mean, I won't say he's been quiet. He just does his job. He doesn't ever do any hoorah and all that over the last 4 years.
He's just in the community.
Yeah,
That's all he is.
He
You don't,
does his job.
unless you're in the community, you
And
don't
then,
see
but
it.
now, but even 4 years ago, he didn't campaign. I don't think he had a 4 years ago. No, but this his campaign is it's pretty strong, man.
That's a solid campaign. He's in the community. You think
volunteer. I want to thank so many of you who just raised awareness.
That's a great
You ever
job.
see much from Adrian?
PTSD have a place to go.
Adrian's a career politician that's just gone from spot to spot to spot. The Democrats don't like Adrian.
717-717-7873.
Shot a lot of his the little capital on the mayor's race, and then back after that going against Jimmy Green.
Now let our other veterans serve you.
One after the other. So
There is an answer. Call Camp Hope. It's
Dylan,
877-717-PTSD.
how you doing out there, man? You doing
That
good?
intro's great.
Oh, the intro?
Yeah, the intro's hysterical. It's great. The intro's horrible.
Sarah Barrett,
So much information there.
Dylan Glass.
And want to talk with somebody.
You have any
or
questions?
learn from
Hey,
people.
we need some, when we come back in, get the calling number.
Yeah,
If anybody has any questions about RV issues or the back to school event, have them call in, and then we'll see if we can get some patches. How y'all doing over here? I haven't checked on y'all in a while.
You guys doing good? Guys doing good?
Most of the employees, including the owner, are former military themselves. Best place to get training, practice,
Can't
license
see.
to carry, and a great rental fleet. So you can shoot their
Turn
guns, go and rent them there. 713-779-GUNS, topgunrange.com.
You've got lots of engines in your life.
When,
Cars, yard equipment, ATVs, motorcycles, watercraft, you name it. And they all use fuel and oil. These same fluids that make your engine run also create deposits that reduce performance and gas mileage. Gun out multi-system tune-up removes these gummy carbon deposits and stabilizes fuel and oil, helping restore performance and fuel economy. Get a can today.
Philip, we're talking about your book. I was actually going to spin that over to Philip Paul Books Library. Where can they buy this book that Philip speaks of?
That's right.
Oh, you can't get there by bus? You need to buy a new car?
Paul Fry's car.
Used car.
You can't handle it.
You can't wake up in the morning. You need some coffee. Go to Phil Paul's Coffee House.
That's right. 30 seconds. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more. From around
The
town.
city of Houston to overcome our obstacles and our hurdles.
That's funny though.
The world is talking about it.
Know your
Remember to hit your on button going back in.
ride home with Joe Bags. Lots going on, lots more to get to. Monday evening at 6 on KPRC 950.
And we're back. Eric Dick back with special guest Philip Paul Bryant is back to school, 9th annual Backpack to 5th Ward.
Making a difference.
You know what really impresses me about Philip Paul Bryant is that he actually does good for the community. I mean, he has 2 first names, Philip Paul. You know they always said that those 2 first name guys, you gotta watch out for them. But
Technically, I got 3 first names. Philip Paul Bryant.
That's true.
And 3 last names.
Man, I thought we'd see you on the news for other items, but man, good seeing him doing some good for the community.
Philip's done a lot of good for the community for a lot of things. But anyway, maybe we'll take some phone calls. Maybe if anyone decides they want to call in.
Yeah, if you have any questions about the back to school drive coming up tomorrow at the Island of Hope Church, or maybe any Harvey related questions about insurance claims, the process, feel free to give us a call. That number is
713-212-5950. That's 713-212-5950. Anyway, so we were talking about Harvey. Maybe we'll go back, kind of talk a little bit more about Harvey, the bond election. I know it's the elections today. So what I found like good, I mean, I almost always vote no if it involves a bond election or any type of tax increase. It's hard for me to vote yes for that. But having said all that, so you could probably figure out where I'm going to vote. But having said all that, what I am really impressed with is how Ed Emmett kind of positioned this. Not that he kind of weaseled into avoiding the general election. I'm not very impressed with that, but I am impressed with how he explained basically where what they needed, where the money's going to be spent. And I think that level of transparency, kudos to you, Ed Emmett. Kudos to, the team that's campaigning on that. I am also impressed that Jack Mormon, he stood up. He's like, do we really need to be doing this? And I have to say, I know it's a hot race, but Jack Mormon has been doing just such a killer job in his campaign. I've been nothing but impressed with that guy. And he won just out of a complete fluke. He's another great example of how Republicans should kind of campaign, how their positions should be, because he just cares about his community. He really does. And
that's where you see the success in Harris County, and especially a lot of urban areas around the country. It's when you truly care about the community and where you live, and you're making that voter contact and not considering voters, but actual people in your district. That's where you're seeing the success in these candidates and people like Jack Mormon. I mean, doing it right and knocking it out the park.
Yeah, and Jack, it's like he won. It was just a complete fluke because Sylvia Garcia had like $2 million, $3 million she was just sitting on. She thought she was going to walk with the race, and Jack had like 2 pennies to his name. His campaign was pretty much bubblegum and shoestrings. The guy, he's just struggling to get. It'd be like just some guy just decided they're going to run for office. They run and they end up winning, and they're kind of. I'm sure he was taken back, blown away. No one expected Jack Mormon to win.
It's almost like Helena Brown in 2011.
It's actually it is similar to that, but it was more mind blowing because it was such a large spot. And you had fighting Jack Mormon just go in there. He's been doing a good job since. I'm really impressed with him. I really am. And there's not a whole lot of people I am impressed with, but I'm really, really impressed with Jack Mormon.
Speaking of being impressed, again, tomorrow, the 9th annual Island of Hope Backpack to 5th Ward back to school drive. Philip Paul Bryant has been doing that impressively for the last 9 years, and having the big support from Eric Dick and Judge Sherry Dean and Judge Warren Moore, and then now a host of other judges have jumped into the fray, family law judges, and it's going to be a huge event tomorrow, so make sure y'all come by and check that out. That's from 12 to
2:30.
12 to 2:30. Now, other than the backpacks, what else are you going to have there, Philip?
We're gonna have school supplies, man. We're gonna have everything that they need as far as starting school. And I know some kids have already started school. I believe HISD starts on Monday, and so and I encourage parents, if you don't have any kids or your kids are grown, come on out, volunteer, because you can make a difference just by encouraging a kid stay in school, get good grades, and just let them see some positive role models. You're familiar with the area, Fifth Ward. There's a lot of questionable stuff going on around there, so to see some positive influences. We got a liquor store about 3 blocks away where every day when kids walk home from school, they'll see behind a liquor store just a crowd of people just drinking and hanging out. And so to push on them some positiveness, some you can do it. It'll go a long way. So you never know exactly what's going on in the home. And so just to be that unbiased voice of saying, hey, you can do this. I think you're going to be great. What do you think about being a doctor? What do you think about being an attorney? What do you think about running for office one day? Hey, you can be an astronaut or run for president. So just to have different voices, encourage kids. So come out, volunteer. If you think your kids already have everything they need, then bring them out anyway and let them rub off some of their good home training off on some kids who may not be as fortunate. So 1505 Greg Street, that's tomorrow at 12 o'clock sharp. We're going to have drill teams there. We're going to have praise dancers, karate performances.
It's going to be one big party, huh?
It's going to be a back-to-school party.
And again, kids, parents, bring those school lists with you. You can go and do your shopping there if you haven't done so already.
Absolutely.
I know I spent about $150 on my 2 girls this past week. I may go take that back to Walmart or Target and do my shopping at Island of Hope tomorrow. If there's some supplies left for the people who really need.
They may take your Republican
hey, you said you had plenty.
Okay, guys. Okay. So we got kudos to you, Philip. You're doing a great job with Island of Hope. You got great people backing you on that. And I guess we're gonna finish up the show. Maybe.
Yeah. If you have any questions, again, call in. The number again is
713-212-5950. Then feel free to call in, but let's kind of maybe transition this a little bit. The show's going to be on weekly. The next 2 weeks we're not going to be on because of U of H football, but we're getting our sea legs. We're coming back. We're going to have a lot of other great local guests. I'm going to be the host. I'm hoping I'm going to be the host unless someone comes and takes my name from me, which, who knows what's going to happen.
You never know.
Never know.
Some dick try to take your name.
Yeah, no, everyone tries. Everyone does different things for different reasons. Okay, so anyway, so back to maybe let's talk about Harvey a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and we can't talk about that enough, especially this weekend. Again, it's the 1-year anniversary. That's why we really want to make sure that we also highlighted, Philip Paul's back to school drive, because again, the devastation it put on a lot of families and the lasting effect it's had. It's not just the school supplies and the clothing, and there's still a lot of assistance needed with Harvey related items and issues. And again, if you have those questions and you need help and some guidance, it's not too late. Eric Dick's always willing to offer the assistance where it's needed.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Dick Law Firm. There's a lot of claims from Hurricane Harvey. Hurricane Harvey caused a lot of damage, and it's going to be a long time before everything's resolved. I know a lot of people are still fighting with their homeowners insurance companies over storm damage. A lot of people are fighting over TWIA, and that's just a show in itself with all the problems that TWIA's face and whether or not we should even have TWIA or whether even TWIA is worth the money people pay.
And if we want to get rid of entities like TWIA or the policies like TWIA, then make sure you're holding those who make these laws accountable, right?
We should make sure we're holding those people accountable. People run for office, and it's all what I've found is being involved in politics, being elected, being an attorney, all this stuff is tied together. Politics, law, policy,
government. It's all tied together. And if you're just trying to, do the right thing, try to make a living, trying to, help people, it gets hard. And, it's easy to go down the path of being negative and being upset at the situation, but it's really hard to actually do something that's meaningful, that actually is worthwhile, and actually get paid for it. So, I'm always impressed with people like Philip Paul Bryan that go out, and he just does a lot of different things. And I've always been impressed with what you do, Philip. I'm impressed with the Kojic PAC, which is it's a great organization that you're the chairman for.
Can we get you to put some of the stuff in writing, please?
Absolutely. But you've done really great. And but my point is this, that it's so easy to go down the path of just being negative and, oh no, everyone else, caused this. So thank you.
And it's good to have people like that in the community. And, if you're always getting pushed around, you got to make sure you have somebody in your corner that's a little bit stronger, a little bit tougher than the other guy. And that's Eric Dick.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can follow me on Twitter at Dick Law Firm. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks, guys. You have a great one. Huh. Y'all heard that? You hear that? Yeah, y'all heard that? Y'all need to contact your lawyer before you're listening to this show. It's so spicy. We got so much juice going on today. You better just pull over, call your lawyer right now, and ask him.
There's a lot of people that probably should have called the lawyer before having any other discussions with other people. But, man, welcome to the Eric Dick Show. Man, good to be back on a Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock. It's Eric B. Dick, the homeowner's insurance lawyer, joined today along with myself, Chris Carmona, and our special guest, Ray J. Black Jr.
Oh, boy. And we've just got a great, juicy show. Let's just go right at it. What is it? Hurricane Michael hit, and oh, boy, did it just wipe out Florida. Florida's gone.
Man, that is one of the worst hurricanes we've seen here in Florida in a while. But, Houston, we kind of have that, well, what about us type of feeling. And as bad as it was for Florida, we always remind ourselves about Harvey last year. But that's a good reminder that, so many other states and people from around the country, they came through. They picked up the slack and helped where Houstonians needed it, where Texas needed it. So if you have the ability, we got to make sure we pull together and help out Floridians as well.
You're right, man. The worst thing that could happen, you spend few $1 million in a house, and those houses down Pensacola, they're just beautiful, and it just gets wiped out. I hope their insurance companies treat them right, which they probably aren't. But I hope I'm going to be optimistic for a moment. I'm hoping they're going to do the right thing.
Hey, do you think they're actually going to do the right thing?
I know.
How long have you been practicing insurance law?
10 years.
And you've been fighting for the homeowners for over 10 years, right?
I have. Yes,
and out of that 10 years, how many times have the insurance companies done the right thing when it comes to covering these types of losses?
Maybe 2.
2 times. Better call Dick.
Okay. So we know Hurricane Michael hit, but we got a lot of other hurricanes brewing in local politics.
Man, which one do you want to start with? The firefighters versus the mayor?
I think we need to talk about the firefighters versus the mayor. We got to bring our probate judge in on this to get his opinion.
Yeah, because you know what? That is an important thing. Our special guest today is attorney Ray J. Black Jr. He's also running for probate judge in court number 2, I believe.
That's correct.
In Harris County. Now, how important is the probate court system in Harris County?
Well, the probate courts, technically a court of last resort, if you will. I mean, that's the last place everybody goes, right?
and when people do pass away and they have some types of defined benefit plan, such as a pension, we see with the firefighters, that can sometimes be litigated in the probate courts, correct?
Absolutely. Anything that's related to an estate of a firefighter
passed away, that's something that absolutely would be litigated potentially in probate court.
I mean, so with this, the importance of the probate courts, the importance of firefighters. Eric, give us a rundown, man. What's going on with the fight between the mayor and the firefighters?
Oh, Sly Turner.
Sly, he's a sly man. Isn't
he wants to have his cake and eat it too. I mean, he's what the firefighters, what my people say, they call Turncoat Turner. he begged them, oh, please, guys, you guys need to support me because that old bad Bill King, he's going to take it all from you. He's gonna really throw you right under the bus. And lo and behold, the first chance old Sly got, he just threw those poor firefighters under the bus. He thinks that making $27,000 is just fine.
Now, from what we know, is Houston's not on par with the rest of the major metropolitan cities across the country in terms of firefighter pay, are they?
Not even close. Just starting off, you make $27,000 being a firefighter, and I mentioned that. Because if I ever stroke out, right, which I'm hoping I don't stroke out, don't want to stroke out, hoping I don't stroke out.
Praise for Eric.
But if I do, I hope the firefighters, they aren't too busy working their spare jobs, falling asleep for working their spare jobs, so they can actually, I want them to be able to be, make an honest living and be able to take care of people. So whenever they're stroking out, they can actually go help them. Isn't that a novel idea?
It is. I mean, I think all of Houston heroes should be adequately compensated. Mr. Black, what do you think?
Well, unfortunately, what I've seen and just going out and about campaigning is this issue has pitted the police officers against the firefighters, which is unfortunate because they both serve our public at large, and we need both adequately equipped and adequately compensated. And so it's unfortunate that you've got this issue, and I've seen statistics like you've mentioned, Chris, where our firefighters don't compare well with other metropolitan areas. And I don't know what the answer is, but it's unfortunate that it's turned out the way it is, where the two groups are at each other and on an issue that you would think would be something everybody could come together on.
They should. Whenever I ran for mayor, and I took the playbook from Rob Mossbacker, public safety, your infrastructure, your basic city services.
Your necessities.
You pick a few things, do a good job at it. But I don't see how we're doing a good job with public safety whenever our poor firefighters, they're making $27,000 a year.
And we can all agree in this room, I think, that there's plenty of money in the budget being wasted in other areas of city government that aren't really necessary services that they could be used for the firefighters' pay.
What are you talking about? All that great art and the bike trails. So I think I love the bike trails.
We have to have a green city, Eric. You have to have a green city.
Well, I know, but it might be on fire, but it'll be a green city.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I'm interested to see how this unfolds at the ballot box in November, but something tells me that this fight won't be over in November. That's going to be something that's going to be thrown to the courts, kind of like it has before. So
don't tell them what's going to happen. But what I am happy about is that the firefighters are pushing for what they believe is right, and I just don't think they've gotten a fair rub in this. Kind of some background on this, like how with the firefighters, they had a kind of a better pension, and in return they were paid less. What Sly did is he went to the legislature, cut their pension. So now they're paid less and have kind of a lousy pension. The police, on the other hand, they were paid in advance. They have like a so-so pension. So, really what's happening is the city's, it's overspending and it's trying to basically steal firefighters' money out of it. And they're kind of trying to have their cake and eat it too. And it's morally wrong. I don't see where it's not right.
And so if we have any firefighters out there, anybody who supports this or is against this Prop B initiative, give us a call. Let us hear what you think, 713-212-5950. But that's not the only thing that's hot going on in the city of Houston right now. The bombshell just released. The Me Too movement is back, and apparently Sylvia Garcia may be involved with that one. We'll talk about that more.
Oh, boy.
Man.
It is juicy. Don't go anywhere. You're going to hear about Touchy Sylvia soon.
We'll be right back on the Eric Dick Show.
You like that, Touchy Sylvia?
Lord have mercy.
I don't know.
I like it. We'll go with it.
Don't be rash when you do this.
Don't be rash. Oh,
No, I try not to be rash.
I want to know where it was going before the clerk or the other lady interrupted and unlocked the door.
Just the visual that I got.
Yeah.
That just was not pleasant.
It's not.
Hey, I got 2 girls, and I'm sitting there going, "Dang gum!" I hear this. They're getting touched here by men, getting touched by women. What the heck?
Yeah.
And your girls are older than mine, Chris.
And now I got something to watch out for both.
Watch out,
man! I've been overprotective on these. Side.
I didn't think that would happen. I didn't think you run around. Oh, you want to see my rash? Well, I'm not a doctor. Well, you want to be my doctor today?
Oh man, that's crazy, man.
Oh, how about the stuff with Jolanda, like HISD?
Yeah, I got that. We'll finish the Garcia stuff, then move on to the HISD stuff.
We gotta get both Garcias.
So
I don't think you'll have this.
Oh, so HISD removed the interim superintendent this past week, and they said it was all just right down race lines, blacks on one side, Hispanics on the other side, and they put back in Abe Savada, and I guess he was removed a long time ago. He's a former superintendent, and Yolanda's like, it's all about race.
I'm shocked because it's all a bunch of Democrats.
Yeah.
So are they saying the Democrats are racist?
Yeah, so that's how we got to talk about it.
That does seem very
Dude,
odd.
I think it's this Democrat momentum, our legend momentum, it's just crumbling, man. I think the Republicans may sweep now. I was a little.
I hope you're right.
I think it was a little iffy before.
I was getting pulled under this morning that were still sketchy.
It's not in the clear.
We gotta talk about Emmett too. Emmett's move, which is
Emmett with the what time they doing with the HIC about the Denver Cubs and then
going to Emmett.
Yeah, and they go with Emmett.
I see Emmett's play. Actually, I don't think it's a bad play. He's trying to break the street party vote.
Dude, the Dems are crumbling. Man. They are literally crumbling. I mean, how can you? It's all self-induced. It's all self-induced.
Well, to be fair, the Beto is pretty much self-induced from Ted, kind of not being sensitive enough.
Whoever has these signs out there that says "Beto, stop texting me," I think it was Pyropack people, great, good guys, man. But that was just not a good idea because all it does is give Beto some more name recognition. You're driving by, you don't know what says Beto. It says Beto. So
I know. I told him that too. Yeah. That Beto Pirate Pack.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. All right, they'll come back in about 25 seconds. Yes, Roseanne, you know what I'm talking about. Hey, but they were trying. All right.
Did you pull over? Did you talk to your lawyer? Can you tune in now? Is it okay? You guys clear it? Because I'm telling you, it's about to get really, really juicy.
If you haven't got legal counsel before, now's the time. And man, all right, so before we left off, man, this Sylvia Garcia thing, it's fire. So apparently, everybody was up in arms about these allegations from years ago with the Supreme Court nomination process. Well, now Sylvia Garcia has these same allegations from 20 years ago with a female staffer of hers.
Don't be rash, Chris. Don't be rash. What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about touchy Sylvia.
I mean, there's always been some allegations about, the other Garcia running in precinct 2, calling him Grabby Garcia, but now it's like everybody's last name Garcia running for office seems to have this problem, or alleged problem. I mean, what's going on over there? What's going on with the Democrats on the east end of Harris County?
So what happened there? Wasn't it just some female staffer and what Sylvia's like, well, I got a rash. You want to see this rash?
Yeah,
pulls off her pants, runs around with her panties, rubbing it on her.
Yeah, from what I read in this affidavit or the portion I got, I mean, it's pretty gruesome or pretty detailed in terms of Sylvia wanted her lead clerk to examine her as if she was a doctor and made her feel very uncomfortable. Mr. Black, in this age of Me Too, does that bode well for voter confidence in the Senate District 29 going forward in November? Congressional District 29, sorry.
I would think not. I mean, with this Kavanaugh stuff in such recent times, and the new standard that's apparently out there with how we deal with accusations, I can't imagine this being a good thing for Sylvia Garcia or anybody else that's facing such interesting allegations.
So does she need to step down or resign, because that was the Democrats' main thing against Brett Kavanaugh? He can't be a public official, he can't be anything on the Supreme Court because he has these allegations. So do we now hold that standard for Sylvia Garcia?
I wish, but it's probably just like with Sheila Jackson Lee. Her constituents just don't care. If she wants to go around touching some girls, well, that's just touchy Sylvia. That's what she does. And that's, unfortunately, you have another person, you have Congresswomen, Sheila Jackson Lee. She does all sorts of crazy stuff, and she gets voted in every time. Yeah. So you're also going to have her counterpart, touchy Sylvia Garcia, run around chasing women.
Well, Philip Aronoff, who's running against her in this November, he's going to have an uphill battle on this, but at least that's something he may want to use as an arsenal when he's talking to voters that, hey, I don't have any allegations of people, touching people inappropriately. And so if that's something that really moves the Democrats, maybe that's something he needs to focus on.
What Philip should at least say is, whenever you are going around her, just don't take your girls, don't take your kids.
and that's a valid concern. I mean, I know we talk about it loosely, but I mean, that's a valid concern, because these allegations in the affidavit says it wasn't the first time, and there were multiple other occurrences and instances. So the Dems are going to have a problem with that going forward.
What else is interesting about Sylvia Garcia's race is that it's set up where a potential Republican could take that spot next year and during the special election. So Sylvia Garcia is just she's ran for office so many times it makes everyone in this room just look bad. And because we have not been nearly as active in running and losing elected offices as Sylvia Garcia has. Yeah. County commissioner, state
City
Senate,
Council for a while.
City Council, and now U.S. Senate. No, not U.S. Senate, U.S. House. Thank the Lord she's not running for U.S. Senate.
Not yet.
Give her a minute.
I mean, that's just one, internal debate, internal conflict they're going to have. The Dems are going to have this November. Another one that's unfolding in front of our eyes we've seen this week is HISD, Houston Independent School District. Eric, what's going on over there?
What I always find amazing is the level of just problems with HISD. When I say problems, you've got the former president who got convicted of criminal acts, stealing money, embezzling money. You've got them basically losing $20 million. I don't know how you lose $20 million. I don't know how you lose $1 million.
I'm trying to find a way to find $20 million.
But for some reason, they're really good at losing money. But now, apparently, this is the most Democrat HISD we've ever had. Every single person there is a Democrat. Democrat. I don't even know if there's a man there. I think it's all female Democrats.
Well, Sergio Lira just got elected to replace Manny Rodriguez in that special election last year. So you do have him on there.
So you have one man.
I think that
everyone else is a woman. And you have what you have going
Lunsford. Lunsford's on there, right?
No, Lunsford's not on there. Lunsford was there.
Okay, that's right. Lunsford's out.
It's all Democrat women, save and except that one guy.
That's true.
And you have basically allegations and a movement that there's a lot of racism happening from the trustees. So my question is, because Republicans always get bummed with you're racist this, you're racist that. Well, hot dog, they're actually literally saying racism, and it's going on in HISD. It's all Democrats.
Yeah, we just got confirmation. There's only one man on the HISD board at this time. And you bring up a good point, though. So from what I understand, the argument was this week is HISD is 70% Hispanic in terms of student population. And apparently there was conflict in terms of the allegations from, at least from Jolanda Jones, was that the non-black board members said they wanted better representation from the superintendent that reflected the body of the students. And so there was a vote to remove the interim superintendent. Wasn't a permanent, but an interim superintendent, because we're still trying to find a replacement from Carranza when he left up to New York. And so Grenita Lathan was a black female, and they removed her as the interim and put her back into a regular position. And they're saying if the vote was straight down, the black board members on one side, non-black board members on the other side. Is there race division going on at HISD? And with the Democrat HISD board, does that help or hurt Republicans or Democrats in this November election?
I think it just hurts. It hurts students. Those are the people that have been completely taken advantage of the whole way through. What do you think, Ray?
Well, the issues clearly impede what the board is there to do, which is govern for the sake of the students. And this HISD has had a history of poor governance because of issues like this that take apparently precedence over what they're elected to do. And I think it sounds like, regardless of the makeup of the board politically, it sounds like if you view every problem as a nail, every solution is the hammer, and that's what they do, regardless of who's there. And the students, as Eric said, are the ones that lose out.
Yeah, and that brings me to a point, because there's always been some underlings and some undertones of, we need to get rid of the Harris County Department of Education because it serves no purpose. Doesn't? But when you see HISD in such disarray, couldn't you make the argument that the Harris County Department of Education can actually be the hero in these types of incidents? And they can. Is there a role? Eric, you're a trustee on the board. Is there a role that the Department of Ed could be playing in this scenario?
I'm actually the vice president there too, and before I understood what the Department of Education was, I jumped up and down and said we should get rid of it because I thought it was just a wasteful government entity. I thought it was redundant to HISD, and as I've looked at it, and I've looked more in detail on it, anything that kind of takes away from HISD is a good thing. Because there's no saving HISD. I have actually changed my opinion that we need to abolish HISD and break it up. It is just so insane. The shenanigans never end. For the last 6 years I've been paying attention to HISD. It's just problem after problem after problem. So I think the best role like a Department of Education could have is, go back to its original purpose. If there's problem with the, local school ISDs, break them up, separate them out. That's what I think would be the best role for, the Department of Education. Absent that, trying to, do what it can to, not be exceptionally wasteful, which is easy. Yeah. All the department has to not do is take a bunch of money and get some gas and just set it on fire. As long as they don't do that, we're good. Because
the Department of Education actually runs at a surplus. They're never over budget. They actually are probably the most efficient countywide government organization. Is that correct to say?
That actually is. It's true. We are $30 million in the black. Usually these government agencies involving education are in the red, but we're $30 million in the black, $100 million budget a year. We do a decent job. I'm not going to give it an A. I'd give it like a B-, C+. It has room for improvement. But what it's not doing is taking money and just throwing it away like HISD.
Yeah, and that's the problem with HISD, man. Is just watching that this week and seeing how, again, that racial divide, how these students are going to be the ones affected. They're going to start having that tension. I don't want to see a black versus Hispanic rivalry start in the city of Houston. And I don't want that going, started in HISD, in the schools or on the board. But I'm sure it's going to, we say political affiliation doesn't matter, but they're all Democrats and they're going to start turning on each other. There's going to be a lot of people who start saying, don't vote for Democrats, don't vote here, don't vote there. And so there's going to be a lot of party switching or party lines being drawn. And we'll talk about some other star-studded county officials who are also going to say jump over party lines when we come back.
Don't go anywhere. Eric Dick Show. We're just warming up, folks. You better talk with your lawyer.
Don't be wrong.
I had to do it.
Hey, we're pretty creative to be able to weave all this in and out and make it all relevant.
You know, I actually, I thought, listening to it, it's listenable. It's not I'm glad that we're more positive, or at least humorful. Than,
Yeah, we're not bashing, bash like some people always are.
It's exhaustive.
All right, so we'll come back on around 33.
Yeah.
Am I doing okay?
Oh, you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Your time to shine after Emmett.
I have no idea.
Just talk about. We just go over the basics about what's a good judge, what's a bad judge.
Yeah,
Ex-party communication, bad.
Yeah. We've had some of that happen recently over in Brazoria County.
There's certain let's just go to the basic things you're supposed to do as being a judge. You're just supposed to be fair, listen to everybody. And this is one of the most sensitive times of their life. Well, actually, not in their life, but in the beneficiaries' lives. And it's a stressful time. It actually can be nastier than family law because people get weird around money. There's a whole lot.
Yeah, the problem. I mean, that's like law. You're fighting with your mind. But you're fighting with somebody else's mind.
Yeah, and it's probate's the dirtiest of all of them. They really are.
It is the dirtiest of all. It's so. If I wasn't doing insurance law, probably law is pretty dang entertaining. Yeah. It's pretty. You see some stuff there.
You got the one with the Anna Nicole Smith one was the classic one. That was in the court I'm running.
And then he hopped on that somehow with the family. Was the grandmother, right? Anna Nicole's grandmother, or who was it?
Oh no, who was it? Give me a second.
You somehow got involved in that.
I did get involved in that. It was a defamation suit against.
Roseanne, to answer your question, it was allegations. So the allegations are out there. I don't know
a defamation suit.
Whether or not it happened or not, but it's allegations.
They were suing my gal. So I don't. You know what? I don't. This was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's been that long.
713-212-5950.
Juicy stuff.
Somebody wants to call in. So.
This goes by really fast.
It does. The time flies. Anybody on the phone lines? Nobody?
No.
What's wrong with that?
It's football season.
It is football season. Hey, Irma.
Got a lot of people watching that.
Nah, I think Carmona is done. Now he's just there for entertainment purposes. But yeah, if y'all want to call in, just to talk about a lot of things going on. 713-212-5950. Hey, Berg. Berg, are you going to call in? You should call in and say you have some questions for us.
Just make up something, right?
And also, since we're always looking for more people to add on to the allegation story, if you've been affected by the state senator in District 6, Sylvia Garcia, please let us know. We'd love to have the exclusive on this going forward.
Yeah, Touchy Garcia.
Because if Touchy Garcia's touched one, there may be more out there. And
probably did touch more. She tried to show you her rash.
Took off her pants. About it.
Don't be.
But, yeah, so if anybody else knows anything, let us know. Give us the exclusive. Let us break the news.
Man, Chris, I got this really bad rash on my leg, and I don't know. You want to see it?
No, you know who doesn't need to see it though is your lead clerk if you had one.
Okay, guys, we're back.
All right.
Oh boy. So what happened this week was just giant with Ed Emmett. Old hunker down. He said that. Well, one, he got the Chronicles endorsement.
He got the Chronicles endorsement.
I was shocked.
He was excited.
Oh, I was shocked. Who would have thought that the Chronicle would endorse old hunker down? Doesn't he live over at the Astrodome? Isn't that where he lives now?
I think he has a personal suite being built underneath. So when we have the next hurricane, he can hunker down in his personal private villa.
He loves that Astrodome. So anyway,
who doesn't he love?
Oh, he doesn't love Lieutenant Dan. He doesn't love Dan Patrick, apparently.
Man, in a bombshell announcement this week, Ed Emmett, the Harris County judge, has publicly stated he didn't just say he was not going to vote for the Republican nominee for lieutenant governor. He went out and made sure he stated, I am going to vote for the Democrat, Mike Collier. That's huge. How does that affect Republicans down ballot? As someone who's on the ballot in November, Ray J. Black Jr., how does that affect you and the rest of your brethren running for judge this November that the county judge has come out and said, break up the ticket and cross party lines?
Well, since this is the last year, we're going to have straight party voting here in Harris County. It's important, I think, at least for Republican judges, that we get as many straight party voters as we can. I know that Judge Emmett does great work for the county, always has, and is very popular. But he's also not one to shy away from supporting Democrats and Republicans both. So I guess it remains to be seen whether those comments and the Chronicle's endorsement are going to have any adverse effect on the Republicans, but I certainly hope it does not.
Do you remember Lloyd Oliver?
I do remember Lloyd Oliver.
You remember what Lloyd Oliver said that got him kicked off the ballot?
He was supporting the Republican nominee.
Yeah, he was. So my question is, Lloyd Oliver, Democrat for DA, he said, I think he said basically he was going to support. I don't even think he said he was going to vote for. He just said he'd prefer like some type of Republican over Democrat. And lo and behold, the Democrats are so outraged by Lloyd Oliver. The Tea Party Democrat, as he called himself. They were so upset about that Tea Party Democrat, they kicked him off the ballot. Will that happen here?
Well, I think it's too late there because that was in the primary situations. I don't think they're going to kick him off the ballot, but I understand Emmett's position because he's a very strong candidate countywide. And he doesn't really necessarily need every single Democrat to win or every single Republican to win because he does have enough crossover appeal. But was it necessary in this instance to take that last jab? Because everybody's saying this is Emmett's last tenure or last term once he wins. Was it necessary or was that just a potting shot to go as he leaves his last election?
So if you're looking at it strategically, it could be necessary because you have like this overtone of Beto and him pushing for Harris County and likely to win Harris County. The question should become, how much does Beto win Harris County by? Does he win it by 10, 15% like Hillary did 2 years ago? Or does he just barely win it or even hypothetically lose it like with like Ted Cruz, his election 6 years ago, where Ted Cruz just squeaked Harris County?
He did. And that's the thing. With the county so competitive, I'm shocked. I am truly shocked that the Harris County Republican Party chairman would not have that discussion with Ed Emmett prior to making such a bold statement. But am I shocked that he didn't? I'm probably lying if I say I'm shocked.
Well, let's kind of go into that. Just a minute. This is a good thing to kind of.
I'll let y'all talk about that one.
Let me veer off just for a minute on this because you got, if I remember right, the financial chair of the Republican Party, who also is very influential in an organization. And that organization endorses Democrats. So you have that kind of tying on. The HRBC, who endorsed Democrats over Republicans, though it did primarily endorse Republicans, it's an alleged Republican organization that does support Democrats. To deny that is to be dishonest. And you have someone with such close alliance to the Republican Party, that brings me some pause. It also brings me some pause that the consultant for the local Republican Party is tied in with Strauss and just an excruciating moderate. All this tied together with, guess who was on air saying vote for Paul Simpson? It was Ed Emmett.
No.
So.
No.
I don't know.
Don't say it ain't so.
Oh, so you see all this stuff going on. All this, loosey-goosey Republican, winking, playing footsies with Democrats. you wonder, is this like an inside job to sabotage in some certain races? I don't know. I hope it's not. I'm going to be positive about it, but dadgum, there's a lot there.
And that's the thing. The party is giving full resources to Ed Emmett and the likes of like Sarah Davis, who's very in a competitive district herself. And there's always that preach about big tent. But when you take a shot at an ultra-right conservative like Dan Patrick, is the Harris County Republican Party truly a big tent party now? Or is it just saying if you're not moderate, probably don't have a spot here for you?
Yeah. Well, I
don't know. I mean, those are questions that are probably going to be answered soon enough.
Big tent when it's convenient for the party. Whenever you're paying to play, it's big tent.
Yeah.
So let's kind of maybe turn the page.
Well, now we have the election coming up. That's true. And, today's special guest is a longtime practicing lawyer, great mind, great scholar, good friend of mine, and also a stout judicious mind. That is Mr. Ray J. Black Jr. Welcome to the Eric Dick Show.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Eric.
And so you are running for, like I said earlier, the Harris County Probate Court number 2. And that's a very special court in Harris County because there's 4 of them, because the legislator has specifically drawn out in certain jurisdictions, you have a specific probate court instead of just going to a regular district court or a county court, correct?
Correct. And they primarily sit in the major metropolitan areas here in Texas. There's an exception to that. But in Harris County, as you said, we have 4 statutory probate courts. They're specialized courts, and they're courts of original jurisdiction for probate cases, guardianship cases, fiduciary litigation, and elder law and mental health issues. And because they're specialized, their jurisdiction is actually broader than your average probate court. So there are issues that can be related to probate or guardianship cases that are not probate and guardianship related or specific, but they get drawn into probate courts, and so they have broad jurisdiction. The same as you might find in a district court, for example, where they hear personal injury cases, so can a statutory probate court, or they can hear divorce cases and family law, so can a statutory probate court if it's related to their underlying issues.
Incident appertaining to an estate or one action.
And so one of those would be if, for example, if there's a wrongful death action, if it's there in probate, during the probate period, and someone in the family files a wrongful death, would that go to the probate court or would that go to the district court?
It depends on the filing of matters. So sometimes those cases get filed separately. So if you have a personal injury case where someone dies or is severely injured, then the probate or the guardianship, if there's one, may get filed over in the statutory probate court, but the personal injury case may end up over in district court to start. But it's not uncommon for those personal injury cases to get drawn back into probate court if it warrants a transfer. And it's not unheard of. In fact, for years, when I first started practicing, when the district court dockets were so backlogged, it was not uncommon for cases to get pulled over in probate court because they had more time to hear the cases, and you got a lot faster a trial schedule, and you got a result quicker than you might in district court.
Okay, and so another example, say I have a guy that owes me maybe $200,000 and he passes away. I mean, I'm sure I still want to collect my money somehow. Where do I go and file suit to collect my money from that estate?
So as a creditor of somebody's estate, if there's a estate pending, you can file a claim in that estate for the amount that you believe you're owed. There's a process for that. And so it's important, as Eric says all the time, you need to get your lawyer involved. But it is a very complicated process at times. The probate system is statutory in nature. There's a huge estates code that your average lawyer, I think, can even be intimidated by because there's so much to wade through when you have issues like that. But that's where they would file it, in the probate court in the estate. Or if there's not one pending, they can even open an estate for that deceased person as the creditor, and they can proceed with their claim that way.
I just note that the probate code is it's exceptionally complicated, and I think complicate's the best way to explain it, because you have some parts of the law that say one thing, and then lo and behold,
You got other parts of the law that say something completely different. So you've got
Almost contradictory.
It is contradictory. So it's difficult, I'd say, for the average lawyer, probably even difficult for the average probate lawyer to understand probate law. And I'm so happy we have you here today, Ray, because not only is he just a nice guy, which is really, really, really important for being a judge, Ray actually understands the law, which is rare. But
because it is a complicated part, like you said. I mean, he can not only just hear probate matters, but because it's called the probate court, but he hears a lot of other things. Let me ask you this, because this is a question that we sometimes get, and maybe we'll have to answer it on the way back. But hold that thought, because a lot of things in Harris County surround about this immigration debate. Does that tie to probate? We'll find out.
Oh, next, you guys stick in.
We'll find out soon.
Eric Dick Show, stick with me.
So what is the question?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so when schools, so you have school districts, and you have families who, they have kids that are over here, but not necessarily the parents, but they have relatives that live here, and so the kids want to stay with the relatives and go to a school here. School sometimes says, okay, we need somebody that says they're the guardians. Does that, you need an actual guardianship? Or do you just have to have a power of attorney over the body, or the person, not the estate?
Gotcha. No, the answer.
With the parents back in whatever country, does it go? That's so. Because I get that question a lot.
We got a phone call from Buck Humble. He wants to talk about a touchy Adrian Garcia.
Yeah.
Grabby Garcia.
Grabby Garcia. Oh.
Okay, so we have a call that he wants to talk about Adrian Garcia, and his name is Buck Buchanan.
Buck Buchanan. We know Buck Buchanan.
I'll talk about Grabby
I
Garcia.
figured you must.
Buck has. I have a picture of Buck taking my son.
The name of the show is The Eric Dick Show. It's on KPRC AM 950 right there. So, and then Eric, right here. So yeah, if you go on to 950 AM in your radio or go on the iHeartMedia app, look for it. You'll see it. We're on live right now. Man, why don't y'all tell me my hair was already discombobulated? Y'all gotta look out for me. Y'all are looking out for me today.
I have a face for it.
That's got a face.
Today truly is the face for radio. The number is 713-212-5950. So if y'all want to call in again, 713-212-5950.
Grabby Garcia.
Touchy Sylvia. Grabby Garcia.
You just don't go. You go into you go to precinct 2. Unless
you go to the East End.
Unless Mormon's around watching you, you're gonna get touched. Thank God you got a Mormon right there. I'm trying to get them off you. Fighting Jack, just fighting them to fighting away the molesters.
My hair? Come on. Nah, it's usually nice and, some little fluff in there. Now I think it's because I put that water out in the headphones. Leave me alone.
The softball practice for
Post practice.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's because normally my whole body hydrates from these drinks, but I grabbed the wrong one today. I got the honey instead of the cinnamon. Yeah. The honey helps the curls lay down flat.
Okay.
Yeah. 10 seconds. So Buck comes on. There you go.
All right, folks, we're back for the final segment of the Eric Dick Show, and I hear someone's calling and want to talk about Grabby Garcia. You better watch out if you're in the East End. You better watch out. You got 2 elected officials that got some slippery hands. Gonna touch you. You there, Buck? Hey, man, what's going on? Welcome to the Eric Dick Show. Please.
first place. But then after he was elected sheriff, midterm, he quit to run for mayor. Adrian Garcia was an HPD officer, city councilman. Then he ran for sheriff, and he wasn't running for the people. He was running for himself. And then he ran for congressman and lost. Well, he ran for mayor and then lost. And then he ran for congressman. Now he's running against Commissioner Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't live in Commissioner Mormon's district. But how does Adrian Garcia get elected like that when he stays nowhere? Do y'all have any answer for that?
The sheeple.
The people on the East End, they know Adrian Garcia, but you always get elected. And I was just wondering if Republicans would be helping Adrian get in there.
There are a sliver of Republicans that do support him. People like Jacob Motti, which I kind of wonder why he feels the need to support Adrian Garcia. But, you know, on the other hand, you have fighting Jack Mormon, who he has a lot of bipartisan support. Jack he's a good guy. He's the real deal. He really is just a people's person. It's kind of shocked me whenever I first met him and how so there's a tie in here. You got Touchy Sylvia, who got arrogant being a county commissioner. She had $2 million in the bank and just did nothing, figured that she was gonna be a county commissioner, get all of her secretaries to sit in her lap. It was gonna be a good time. But, while she was too busy, I guess, doing what she was doing, fighting Jack Mormon got in there and he won. He won by just doing the basic things, going door to door, letting everybody know that it was time for a change. He's going to do a good job. And the guy he really has done a good job. I don't see him losing Precinct 2. I just don't see it. He has run such a tight campaign. He's been everywhere. If you're in Precinct 2, you're going to walk around. You're just going to see him just driving by. That guy is everywhere in Precinct 2. And if there's just like a bike show, you're going to see him there.
He's everywhere. And so, but to answer your question, I mean, Adrian, got elected in, I think it was 2008, first as sheriff.
It was against Tommy Thomas.
Against Tommy Thomas, and you got to keep in mind at that time there was some internal issues going on with the Thomas campaign and the administration, and so that's how Adrian was able to get the confidence of the county people. But thanks for your call, Buck.
Let's move on to Jim. You there, Jim? Hey, Jim.
Did we lose Jim?
I don't know. You there, Jim? Yes, sir. What's going down? Welcome to the Eric Dick Show.
I love y'all's and I continuously support. And I just had a quick question in regards to the law career. Chris Carmona is actually a Facebook friend, and I heard about it through his promotions on his Facebook Live right now. So what's up, Chris? Thank you.
What's going on, Jim?
Hey, man, I'm on 1L year at Texas Southern University, Thurgood Marshall School of Law, and I just wanted to ask some advice in regards to pursuing my career as an attorney. Is there any advice that you might have before I finish and I graduate as far as positioning myself in a way where I can, maximize my opportunities? I definitely want to make sure I preserve my energy.
Absolutely. Network. You want to build your network. That's the best thing you do. I know a lot of people are going to focus on getting good grades, make sure you're at the top of your class. And that's important to make sure you pass, but your network is going to be the thing that makes you successful. And another thing, get politically involved, because law and politics go hand in hand. And one way or the other, you're always going to be involved somehow. And the more you know, the more people you know, it's going to enhance your network. But it's also going to give you brighter minds to surround yourself with. And it's going to surround yourself with people who actually make decisions once they get elected on the bench. You'll have that opportunity to know their mindset because you converse with them, you hang around with them, and you network with them. So build your network.
Also,
I would say both.
You want to meet and talk with as many people as you can, because the non-attorneys will end up being your clients. The attorneys you'll end up dealing with, they'll be friends, they'll mentors, mentees, just people that you pick each other's mind, because cool, man. Thank you.
Don't forget your classmates too, because those are people you're going to continue to network with the rest of your career, and you don't know what they're going to do as they progress through their legal career, and you're going to touch base with them for years to come.
And you talk about the network. One of my friends, I'm involved in Young Republicans across the country, and one of my network people, Matthew Gilson, just joined on my live feed. I got people in New Jersey, California, Omaha who refer. So just make sure you build that network, and don't just stay local. Build your national network. So thanks for the call, Jim.
Hey, so thank you. Hey, we have Ahmed. Hey, man, what's going down? Welcome to the Eric Dick Show.
When we talk about politics in America. That's why I'm personally writing a book, which is not done yet, going to be Immigrant for America. I ran for county commissioner, I ran for county judge, I ran for youth Congress, I ran Republican, Democrat, Independent in Kansas, and I'm here. But you know what? I love America. Last election in year 16, I was the Democratic nominee for county judge. Okay?
Congratulations.
I have a law degree. I have a doctorate degree. I have a security clearance from the feds in all three.
Wow.
I'm highly educated. I'm a businessman. And guess what? Because the name Hassan always can beat me in the primary. And that's why I keep running. Because the people, they need to change their image. They love you as a lawyer, as a businessman, as a doctor, as whatever. But when it comes to election, they do not vote for a name, which is sad, because we all immigrants, but people don't realize that. That's a name.
All right, thanks for the call, man. Thank you. We'll keep that in mind going forward. We have to make sure we just look past names, and we appreciate the call.
We really do, man. And sometimes, thank you so much. And we're sorry, we're running out of time. Didn't mean to really cut you off, but with names, you just got to keep running. I have an odd last name. Some people consider it a lot of different. A lot of different people have different opinions on it.
Yeah. And so, again, one last question in terms of probate. While we have Ray Black here, does immigration in any way play a role in the probate court, especially in Harris County? There's always that the issue of immigration that pops up one way or the other. Does that play a role in the probate courts? And if people are parents from another country want to send their kids to Harris County to live with a relative, do they need to go through the probate process for that?
Well, it depends. If the school district, which oftentimes needs someone with some legal authority to speak or make decisions on behalf of the child who may be here, you may actually have them ask that a guardian get appointed for the minor to have some legal authority to make decisions for them. And if that's true, then of course the probate courts are the place to go. That's where we do guardianships, and we do them for everybody who is fitting in the statute as someone who's, as they claim, incapacitated. But being a minor is part of the definition of being incapacitated. So they fit into the system. And as needed, we take care of those minors. It's not uncommon. It doesn't have to just be with the school district. We see that all the time. We talked earlier about personal injury cases. Personal injury cases affect everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're a U.S. citizen or not. In your case, may end up in probate court. So we cover all facets of that. And while we don't deal with immigration directly, we certainly deal with people who have an issue.
Thank you, guys. Don't forget to vote. Election's coming soon. Thank you so much, Ray Black. He's a great guy.
He is, and Ray is, again, one of the most knowledgeable attorneys I know, not just on probate, but with a lot of things. So remember, November, look for those names on the ballot, people that you can trust, and Ray Black is one of them. And also remember that if you have the need for someone to fight for you because of some homeowner insurance disputes, insurance company's not taking care of you, who do they need to call?
Better Get Dick, Eric Dick.
Better Get Dick, Eric Dick. Again, it's been a pleasure spending some time with y'all on this Saturday afternoon. Chris Carmonas here with Ray J. Black Jr. and Eric B. Dick. Take us away, Eric.
Next time. See you guys next week. Y'all have a great weekend. Bye. That was fun. It's always fun.
Guys, thank y'all again. Thanks for the calls.
See you guys.
And, thanks for the feedback. I'll get back to y'all. Peace.
Listen now by going to FoxNewsPodcasts.com. Tucker Carlson. So much barking and noise and yelling. Our role is to take 3 steps back and discern what really matters. The most important thing that we do, we are looking out for the forgotten men and women in this country. They're going to get straight.
If y'all can't sit here all day online, make sure y'all go onto the iHeartRadio media app, KPRC 950, or just tune into your radio, 950 AM. A lot of good stuff today. A lot of good stuff. But it's only 30 minutes, so make sure y'all tune in. If you're going to get some calls in, 713-212-5950.
Finally forbidding insurers from discriminating against or denying coverage to Americans with pre-existing conditions. The GOP spent 8 years preparing to repeal the law, even forcing a government shutdown.
Hey, Karen. Hey, little Tim.
A California college ready to shell out hundreds of millions of dollars to settle lawsuits.
The University of Southern California says it'll pay out $215 million to settle claims of sexual abuse by a school gynecologist. That settlement would compensate individuals.
And as always, today's segment brought to you by Bragg's Organic Apple Cider Vinegar, all natural drink. And we got the right one today, apple cinnamon. Dick, where's your Topo Chico?
I got a little Topo Chico right here.
You got it? Let's make sure you got it. You got it?
I got a Topo Chico.
David, what are you drinking, man?
Starbucks.
Ah, come on, man.
I know, it's
a
there.
Frappuccino.
Yeah.
He's got the Frappuccino. He's frapping it. Oh, man. What a rush. Sorry, Shannon. We were rushing.
Shannon, you get a car. We didn't get me a badge.
Yeah. Barely did it. Okay.
7,000 members of the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force are believed to have
Hey, y'all.
as Hurricane Florence closed in last month.
Oh, it's going to be a juicy show. It's going to be a short show, but it's going to be juicy.
30 minutes, huh? Yeah. So we have one break around 14 to 18 again. Yeah. 27, 26 bars on. Pick us up.
So we're going to go into, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, first let's start about, there's a new suit. Well, first let's talk Attack Him again.
And I'm Joe.
Attack Him.
Oh, yeah. I do
Attack Him. And then we'll talk about the suit against the city for the
largest gun show in the country is over
the drag queen show.
Yeah. They got to watch out. They might get in trouble on that. For anti-slam. How are you going to get around anti-slam with that?
Good afternoon. Watch out for an accident on the North Freeway northbound and the North Loop. This has 2 left-hand blocked. Some good news, that accident we had on the North Freeway southbound equipment has been cleared. Traffic is unwinding in that area, adding about 30 minutes to your commute. I'm Eunice Garcia, the 24-hour traffic center.
Okay, cool.
And pizzas count for a limited time.
And then we'll
talk about Sylvia some more.
Yeah, we do need to talk about Sylvia. We got the rest of the affidavit, and we can talk about the Chronicles of Hypocrisy because they endorsed her after being one of the lead publications on this Me Too and Kavanaugh stuff.
Go to Danny and his friends.
Take a break.
After the first break, we're going down.
After the first break, we're going to you with the about immigration law and how it ties in and stuff
right here. KPRC.
We'll make it fit.
Opinions provided on the Eric Dick Show are for information.
They've never heard the intro on Facebook streaming.
All right, folks, we're back to a spicy show here today. It's going to be Fast and Furious Eric Dick show with my co-host and wingman, Chris Carmona. And
hello, good weekend, everyone.
It is going to be a great show. Okay, we had a lot happen this week. We had, Touchy Sylvia. We got the rest of her affidavit where, she's talking about some rash she has, and she has a clerk, which she's a municipal judge, and she, starts telling the clerk, hey, I got this rash on my leg. You want to see it? And the clerk's like, well, no, not really, Sylvia. I don't know that many people want to see it, but no, I'm good.
And she was good. And that's the thing. I mean, when we left off last week, we had limited information on this affidavit, but we have procured the remainder of the affidavit, and it just gets even worse. I mean, there was trips to Nashville where she was just taking advantage of her allegedly aggressively inside this hotel room. And, this is a legal talk show, and we talk about legal standards and how that impacts the community. Well, I remember a couple of weeks ago, the Houston Chronicle made it a point to make sure that our Supreme Court of the United States candidate, now Justice Kavanaugh, was put through this ringer and even made a point to publish different opinions and editorials where it said that, if you're accused of these things, you're not fit for these types of positions. So with Sylvia being accused of these types of allegations, it's surprising that they came out and endorsed her this week. What's going on?
Well, to quote Erica Grinder from the Houston Chronicle, it's dead and irrelevant and no one cares. And that's actually from a reporter. So what's interesting with the whole Kavanaugh thing is you had a woman, and she was sincere. I know there's people that have different opinions, but she seems sincere that something happened to her. Maybe we aren't sure what happened, but something happened, and she seems sincere about it. Just as the level of sincerity in that affidavit. And they go into a lot of detail.
And it's pretty detailed. I mean, these are things that have been sitting on and no one's come forward. Apparently, Ms. Gutierrez had actually made these complaints before, but it fell on deaf ears. And that's the problem I see with the city of Houston, is that they pick and choose who they actually want to move forward with these types of allegations. And I think that's something that falls back into the city council and also the mayor, because we have to stop that culture of siding with some, whether it's political or not, or it's just friendships. If these allegations are being thrown out there, you got to act on those. I mean, if not, you open yourself to all types of liability in the employment field, right?
Yeah, you're right. And didn't if I remember right, reading that affidavit, didn't one of her staffers kind of walk in and go, whoa, I don't want to see this, turn around beeline right out?
Opened the door, unlocked it, and said, whoa, made a U-turn and got back out of there. I mean, so there's been witnesses to these allegations or to these events, and I'm just shocked and appalled that for the Houston Chronicle to come out and say, we're going to lead the movement and making sure that people have a voice and people who have these allegations, they're going to be heard, to come out with no hesitation and endorse against Philip Arnoff in the congressional race in CD29 over in the east side of Harris County.
Or they could have just done no endorsement. They could have just they could have said, well, look, we're going to be the bigger person. These allegations with Sylvia, they're pretty sincere. And just so the listeners know, this is, the former county commissioner, former state senator, Sylvia Garcia. What she did is she took off her, allegedly, which is probably not very alleged, but anyway, she took off her pants, said, hey, I got a rash to one of her clerks, ran around in her panties. Another one of her staffers kind of came in and kind of was freaked out and beelined out of there and just completely harassed this poor girl. I mean, if I did this type of stuff at my business or even at the Department of Education, it'd be all over the news.
Oh, it would be. It would be lawsuits left and right, all over the news. Every single media publication in the city would be covering that. And again, I'm just shocked at that. And, I hope that, people put politics aside, because, again, this has a lot more weight in this story with specific details than we saw with Kavanaugh. And I hope the Democrats actually hold Sylvia Garcia accountable. And there may be some infighting that results from this, with early voting starting on Monday. And so we'll just have to see on that. But with infighting also comes another person we need to talk about. The turmoil hasn't stopped with our county judge.
Oh, hunker down?
Hunker down. Last week he had came out and endorsed the Democrat candidate for lieutenant governor, and there was some minor backlash from some of the candidates down ballot in Harris County, the Republican candidates. And there hasn't been any backtrack. If anything, it's been a double down on the statement of saying I said what I said and I meant what I said. How's that going to affect everybody? How's that going to affect the courthouses? Because, in 2008, we saw a huge wipeout. 2012, we saw it again, a wipeout. 16, another one, sweep every 4 years. On
Ed Emmett is just kind of the reaction. It's really the fault of the local party, the complete mismanagement by the local Harris County Republican Party, and the arrogance of Ted Cruz. And you got to realize that Beto is the result of just utter arrogance of Ted Cruz being just elected, runs for president, just ignores everybody. I mean, Beto, he's done a decent job. He's not going to win. I don't think he's going to win. I think it'd be surprising it'd be a shocker. But stranger things have happened. But Beto wouldn't have nearly as much following if Ted Cruz would have done his job. And also been a nice guy. And everyone tells me in the Republican Party that's around him. I mean, some people do like him, and they jump up and down and say, we like him. But there's a surprising amount of people that say he's a jerk. I don't want to be around him.
He's not connected to the people he was when he campaigned first in 2012. He's kind of separated himself with more of an elitist attitude is what I hear. And then I also heard last night that there was a Kingwood Tea Party gathering, candidate rally, and apparently that was the buzz around the room. Is anybody going to hold Ed Emmett accountable for this statement? And is that going to really hurt the down ballot judges? I think it will. I think it'll
hurt the judges, but you got to also remember that Lloyd Oliver, he did something similar, actually a step back, maybe 4 years ago whenever he ran for DA, and the Democrats just kicked him right off the ballot.
Yeah, and there's been some great articles about that by Charles Blaine and also Kerry Cheshire. They made some mention on this, and they were asking people, hey, what's going to happen here?
Oh, nothing's going to happen because Emmett's tied in with the local party that's incompetent.
Yeah, it is. And more to come on the Eric Dick Show. A shortened segment today. We only have half an hour. We got to get to y'all some sports programming. But y'all sit right there, and we'll be right back.
Thanks, folks. See you shortly. We'll come in, go in with you for probably another 10, 12, then we're going to be done.
Yeah. So what do you feel comfortable talking about? Like what area are you just feel like, man, I know this, I'm dynamic on this, and boom.
Just anything immigration is good. We do all types of immigration. We do business, we do family, we do removal. So anything that you want to talk about in terms of any new changes, like right now there's an instant denial that just started in September.
Okay.
So that means that if you send a petition, it's wrong, something wrong with it, not all there, so just deny it. And this bad used to, they just refuse it. But denying it is actually
right up here. Okay. Then we can talk about this caravan that's coming up and Trump's statement. There's some tough people, and we don't want those tough people coming in. And we can see about they're coming from Guatemala and Honduras. They're trying to go through Mexico. Mexico's actually trying, they're trying to do their job and secure the border. So we don't want you coming in and filter in. They tore it down and. I'll tie into immigration, and then immigration right there. That's how we do it.
I think smoking always affected my daily life because I was a closet smoker.
Roseanne, exactly. Someone like the county chair should have said something, but he didn't. Really, the guy pays them off. I mean, it's his major funder.
There's no
him and this guy Weekly, they own him. So what are you gonna say? No, don't do it. But like I said, it's gonna be very, very, very.
We got a good many followers now.
Not want to break straight ticket voting because of his insistence on doing that. So we'll see how it turns out. But early voting starts on Monday. Make sure I go by, vote all the way through from the top to the bottom. There's a lot of judges on that ballot that really need your support. It's not a smart idea just to always hit straight ticket if you don't feel comfortable with all the candidates. Beto, fake Mexican. Is he really a fake Mexican, or is he just using the name to try to trick people? What kind of fires was he putting out? Like what was being said to try to mitigate that damage? I mean, could you really mitigate that? Unless maybe just show some poll numbers and be like, the current poll shows, even with that statement, we're still up about 15%. Anything like that.
He speaks his mind.
How long did
but it took like
Oh, here we are, folks. If you haven't pulled over and talked to your lawyer, you better do it because we're going to go into some law, and I don't want you guys crying to me because I gave you good advice and you hadn't paid me. So you better go talk to your lawyer before you listen anymore. Okay?
And if they're suffering from any type of home damage, car damage, life insurance issues where the insurance company is just not paying, so they call Dick.
Better get Dick.
Better get Dick.
Better get Eric Dick.
And so when we left off, I mean, again, there's just so much turmoil going on in this world. But one thing I do have to say is today is my daughter's 14th birthday. Happy birthday, Brooklyn.
My mother and sister's birthday.
I was about to say, you have a family of birthdays today, too.
And it's Mark Lanier's birthday.
And Mark Lanier's birthday. So October 20th, mark this down on your calendars, everybody. That's a strong day for birthdays to come out. But other than the birthdays, we have some other exciting news going on in the country, right?
Oh, we have a lot of exciting news. But while we start off talking with Danny about his little law practice doing immigration law. And we could kind of tie it into all the many things that are happening in this world.
So today's guest, we have attorney Danny Wynn. Danny, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having us. This is David Wynn, by the way.
Oh, sorry. David Wynn.
Oh, no problem. It's okay.
So I had it right the first time when I said David.
Yeah, you said it earlier this morning, so yeah, maybe it's too early for you.
Oh, I was thinking of there's a
city council member in Missouri City.
That's right, Danny Wynn. Sorry, David. So you have an immigration practice. You've been practicing law about 10 years, right?
That's right. We're practicing 10 years. We have an office in Southwest Houston and one in Northwest Houston as well.
Excellent. And so there's been some changes lately. And could you tell me about the changes in immigration law that's, some listeners might want to know about?
Yeah, so there's a lot of changes across immigration, across the board. So whether it's legal immigration or illegal immigration, there's changes across the board. Some of the major changes, instant denial. So starting in last month, in September, if you send in a petition or an application and there's anything that's wrong with it, immigration used to send you a request for more evidence, or they send you a notice of intent to deny and give you an opportunity to fix the problem. So now, no more. They can instantly deny your application. And again, this is not like a rejection. This is a denial. So it looks really, really bad if you're trying to reapply later on.
So what you're telling me is if someone is, wants to work on their status or, wants to bring someone over or marry someone or what have you, they probably should not do it by themselves. They're probably behooved to go actually get a lawyer to help them with their immigration status. Is that what you're telling me, David?
Exactly. I used to tell people, if you read the law very carefully, you could probably do this by yourself. But now so much things have changed. Like, I'll just give you an example. So the basic forms that you need to sponsor a spouse, it used to be last year, before 2017, the I-130 form, it used to be 5 pages. Now it's 18 pages. And there's another form that supplements that. It used to be 4 or 5 pages. Now it's an additional 18 pages. And those are just 2 forms out of the many forms that you have to file in order to bring someone to the U.S.
Now, and this is things that probably an attorney is best equipped to handle. Is that correct? Is that a fair assessment?
That's right. And, it's not a person's fault, to be honest with you. A lot of things are wrong online, especially even on the government's website. They're wrong. And I could, probably, usually what I do is I show clients, like, look, this is what you want to do. And I can tell you that it's wrong. If you do it this way, like they have it on the website, it's going to get rejected or denied.
Now, there's a lot of notaries that have popped up around this city, I know for sure, over the last few years to try to assist and expedite some of this immigration paperwork. What's your feelings on notaries? Are those really strong-minded people who understand the legal system and know how to navigate the channels?
And that's a good question, Chris. Well, I can tell you for sure, a lot of people in Mexico, there's public notarios are attorneys, but in the U.S., they're not attorneys. Public notarios are popping up, and let me tell you why you don't want to hire one. The public notarios would never put their name on any of your documents. So whenever there's a problem with your documents because they're giving you wrong advice, no one's accountable except for you. And you're not going to be able to blame someone that doesn't have their names on your forms.
They're charging a lot of cash too, aren't they?
They do, but besides this actually being illegal for a notary to practice law, and usually they'll charge
at least, near what a lawyer would charge.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes more. So you're having someone, it's basically you're just going and picking someone off the side of the street and saying, hey, help me with my legal forms. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't get, someone off the side of the street to represent me, which actually I do. Being an attorney, actually I do hire people to represent me, and anytime anything happens.
They say what a client has a fool. What is it saying?
Yeah,
only a fool has a client for himself. Or something.
That's right. So yeah, if you have problems with immigration, you probably should get a lawyer. Maybe you could have done it in the past, but it sounds like things have changed, and it probably behoove you to sit and talk to somebody that actually is licensed through the state bar and, tell you what to do. What other problems do you see happening, Danny?
Okay, so the other problems that we see right now is if you're in removal proceedings. So before, if you're in removal proceedings, that means deportation proceedings, you would have probably a very fair trial with the immigration judge. It's not like that anymore. So right now, under Donald Trump, he said that immigration judges have a quota. They're obligated, or they should, try and end at least 700 cases per year. So what this means in reality is that every immigration judge under the quota has to finish a case within 2.5 hours. Think about this for a second. One party has to state the facts of the case, the witnesses have to be called up, the judge has to make a decision, all in the course of 2.5 hours. Some of these cases are asylum cases, meaning that they involve people that have been victims in their own countries. They're going to the U.S. in order to seek protection, and now you have to make a decision within 2.5 hours, whereas maybe a year ago, you would have maybe several years to put together a case. So that's what's happening right now is that.
But on the flip side of that, Danny, hasn't one of the biggest issues always been that the process takes too long? You have to get in line. It's a long line, takes years. But with this expediency of a 2-hour hearing, or it doesn't that speed up the process, and doesn't that help people who are in the queue trying to get through the system properly?
So in the past, you're right. So in the past, asylum used to take years. Now it's not that way anymore. So earlier this year, they changed it. When you apply for asylum today, instead of taking years, you're going to get a notice for an interview within 3 to 5 months. That's very quick. Think about this. You have to show asylum is not easy to get. You're going to have to, usually the attorney will write a legal brief. You have to show evidence, so medical records. Imagine fleeing your country with nothing, and then you're going to have to try to get, certified copies of your birth certificate, or anything that you have in that situation. Maybe judicial records. I mean, it's going to be very hard for anyone that's fleeing their country with no money.
Yeah.
And nonprofits nowadays don't have a budget in order to fix this issue. There's too many people.
It's definitely a broken system. It's something that we really have to make sure we're pressing our Congress members and our senators to put something in place that's actually going to be sustainable in the long term.
And it's not just the immigration system. I mean, it's the same way with our justice system. There's a lot of sad things that happen every day. I had a client one time in criminal law back when I first started practicing law, where she had some problems with welfare. She got too much welfare because she was broke. And the judge that she was in front of, who's now the administrative judge in Harris County, was Susan Brown. She was nice enough to, put Mike Al in jail, baby in hand. When I say baby in hand, I had to watch the baby while the grandmother came to pick her up.
It was training for you, Dick. It was training for you.
That's training. But we want to talk about injustice. There's a lot of injustice to go around, a lot of injustice in different spots. And it's been going on a long time, and I imagine there always will be injustice.
Yeah, real quick, David. There's a huge caravan coming through Central America right now, going through Mexico, trying to get to the United States. Will they make it? And if so, are they going to be turned back around under this new policy provisions? What happens to them?
Right now, it's harder for people trying to enter the U.S. to get asylum or refugee status. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle for them to try to make it into the U.S. And even if they do, it's going to be very hard for them to try to get any legal status in the U.S. So it's very hard. We're turning away people that are actually fleeing their country. Some of these people, yes, there's always people that will try to, go past the system that do not qualify. But you have to understand there's a huge vetting process to make sure that their alibi sticks. There's multiple interviews to make sure they have a credible fear.
But if you have a group of 1,000 people coming in one time and saying, we just got bombed in our neighborhood, shouldn't their stories all match? And wouldn't that be considered some type of evidence that they could be used in the process?
So just like you mentioned earlier about the Kavanaugh hearing, when people experience trauma, they're gonna remember different things. And so when you have a child versus an adult, they're gonna see different things. And that's why it takes a lot of work in order to gather the story to make it make sense, because every person's story is going to be a little different based on their experience.
Well, I think it just goes to show that you're always probably doing right whenever you have legal problems to go and get an attorney. The system's always going to change under whether it's Trump, whether it was going to be somebody else, the system's going to change. Whether it's good or bad, it always remains to be seen. It's fascinating how government works and how consequences for actions happen. Plenty of times they're inadvertent. This could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. Only time will tell. But what is important is while they're going through this process, if they're serious about it, they probably need legal help.
They do, and that's what we're here for, is to try to make sure we guide people to make sure they're getting legal help in any type of situation they're in. And David Wynn, thank you for your time today with talking about immigration. And if anybody needs to reach out to David, what's that phone number?
It's 281-777-1236.
All right, thank you, David.
Yeah, so is there anything else we need to go through in this fast and furious?
Absolutely. Again, anytime you're facing an insurance company, whether it's a car accident, a personal injury that happens, you slipped and fell, or you got flooded or hail damage, and the insurance company does not want to pay, you got to make sure you have someone on your side who's going to fight for you from the beginning to the end, and is going to take the insurance company to task.
What I found amazing is I've represented like thousands of people, and when I say thousands, like 2,000-3,000 people. And out of those thousands of people I've represented, I'd say 98-99% were underpaid on their claims. It's just kind of fascinating that so many insurance companies just underpay claims, and they pay big money to to government through lobbyist organizations like Texans for Lawsuit Reform to buy people off. But I guess that's never going to stop. You're always going to have stuff like that, and that's been going on since governments began. Is you have special interests.
And it has, and as long as there continues to be special interests protecting the insurance companies, it's important and critical that you have an attorney fighting on your side, and that's where homeowners insurance lawyer, attorney Eric Dick, comes in. And again, if you're getting in that legal situation, don't get mad, get Dick.
Good to be back again, folks. I'll see y'all next weekend, or I won't see y'all. I'll talk to you next weekend.
And make sure that we haven't always said this, but we got to send a huge shout out to our producer Shannon. See y'all next week.
Thanks, producer Shannon. Have a good one. Barely did that one. That was a rush.
Hey, send me some business cards. Maybe I'll get it out. I have a business card wall.
Hey guys, again, sorry for the short show today, but we'll be back on. We're good next week, right?
I'll put this on.
I think we're good next week, but we'll let y'all know. Yeah, have a good one.
It's on Twitter. It'll be on Twitter later. Okay. Bye, folks. Thanks. We're about to go live. About 7 minutes. We've got a bunch of great guests, a bunch of great topics. You can message me. If you guys message me, I'll respond. Oh. Let's see. My handle is at Dick Law Firm on most Twitter, Instagram. Okay.
You're doing your live stream too?
Yeah. So,
Does he have Wi-Fi or no?
There is Wi-Fi here. It's iHeartMedia. I don't remember the password. I'm gonna have to find it.
yes, yeah, iHeartRadio guest.
Yeah.
Let's get to that. Radio guest. We're jumping.
I don't know that I know what the password is, guys. I'm looking for the email where they sent it to me.
Check their phones. I checked their phones already.
I put mine on vibrate.
Yeah, mine's on vibrate.
Probably better put it in your pockets.
Yeah, I watched the debate last night.
I saw clips of it. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
We have kids, so we're like, we have triplets.
You
So,
have triplets? Yeah.
so we basically pass out
Pretty much. It's work, take care of kids, and sleep.
Yeah.
When you
When
can.
they go to bed, we clean, do all this stuff, and then pass out.
2.5.
At least I wait till they go to bed first. So.
Before we pass out, that's a good thing. Well, we do CPS work, so
It's
we
kind of a
know
necessary requirement.
it's kind of a necessary requirement.
Wow.
So they exhaust us.
Yeah.
Basically.
Is it the only thing?
That's all. He
Oh,
says we
yeah.
can't have any more kids.
Well, I understand that.
Isn't that mean?
We just knock them all out in one while.
People say that. It's not quite as amazing as you would think to knock
Yeah.
them all out in
No,
one shot.
I definitely see the benefit of.
Any triplet parent you speak to will tell you, we love our kids. We wouldn't have chosen to have triplets.
Correct.
That's like Octomom type thing,
Right.
thinking. Yeah, we're more of the, we're happy we had 3 kids, yay. But
Are they all girls, all boys?
I
mean,
cried.
you gotta get your boy, man.
Nope.
I cried. As I told them, no one's gonna love me. I said they're gonna love daddy. Mommy will do everything and daddy will get the love.
3 girls?
3 girls. Oh, did you find a Wi-Fi password or no?
I didn't. I couldn't find it. I looked. I didn't see it.
Do you think your engineer knows it?
You're gonna have to ask her. We're about to start though.
Okay.
We're gonna be able to talk about CPS a little bit as well.
Well, he does some CPS and I do, but I'm not talking. So.
Hurricane Harvey hit us all. It feels sometimes
Okay.
When you record at least, and then I can give it my perspective.
anxiety and fear.
It's already
Radio
on.
with Steve Valentin every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. Right here, KPRC 950 AM. And now, the worst commercial ever.
Hi, I'm Justin Galvin, retired athlete from the local football team, so I know a thing or two about insuring a landscaping business. I trust the pros, commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive. Get customized insurance solutions over the Grand Slam home run for you.
Restroom.
That's everything there is about endorsements.
I'm running.
Whereas commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive is aging.
To the left.
Visit
To the left.
Insurance organization of Progressive Insurance.
So I just discovered DazzleMe.com. It's a totally addictive new jewelry site with big name luxury brands. And you know which ones I'm talking about. Unique designers that you can't find anywhere else. Only a fraction of the price. I'm going back on DazzleMe.com tonight.
Maybe doesn't necessarily work. We're about to go on live with, we're at KPRC, AM 950. We've got a bunch of great guests today. A family lawyer, kind of a couple. Philip O'Brien here is co-hosting, helping me out. He's wingmanning it. We're going to be going on pretty soon, so tune in. You guys have any questions, post it on, I'm watching on Facebook. It's live on a number. That's fun. Oh, maybe I should put on my headphones.
There's some here.
Let's see. Oh, wait. Yeah, it goes silent for a little bit before. If I remember right, I always get spooked with this. It goes silent for a little bit, then it'll play its music. And we get going. Okay.
Here. I was like, what is he doing?
I didn't know Bill had a DWI.
You mean Bill?
Oh, Beto.
Beto.
Didn't he have someone like his dad that was a judge covered up or something like that too? Didn't get his dad last night.
Very well could be.
That'll make for some,
That's gonna be some good radio. You guys getting a preview of what we're gonna be talking about. Juicy, only the juiciest here. Okay.
Am I gonna be able to hear?
We have a studio. There's gonna be a studio monitor that'll play that like we were hearing before. It'll play.
Oh, in the background.
In the background, yeah.
Okay.
If there's a good family law question, can she answer or does it have to be me?
I don't mind. Y'all can both answer.
Okay.
There should be a mic right there.
That might still be on.
There should be both mics on. But
No, those criminals up there.
Well, if he says for me to do it, I can push mic on.
yeah, just hold on. I know it's quiet. Okay.
So you talk about the baby a little bit. This is Russell Newman and Newman Rodriguez. We're live on AM 950. We're going to take some questions, give some answers, and we're on the Eric Dick Show. Hope to hear from you.
Okay, I know it's a little quiet. I know. That's okay. Just getting ready. It's the calm before the storm, folks. The calm before the storm. Okay.
From the Corey Diamonds and Design Traffic Center. We did have an accident working on the outbound side of the freeway and the quick recap for the traffic up into the downtown area. It's not clear, but things still might be slowed up in line. We do have construction related outbound on the Southwest Freeway affecting West Loop, right now the backup towards Speedway and Stephen Cross. And 24 hour traffic center.
Just that. This report is the headphone volume there too. It's too loud.
This was a participating modified stores.
Okay, we'll get ready to go on. Minutes, folks. I'm here. Still have a delay. You tune in AM 950 or just Facebook Live, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Twitch, yeah. I'm on Twitch, YouTube, and every single one. Periscope.
That's pretty cool.
Periscope, which is Twitter and all of them. So, guys, you got questions? Oh, no.
You should contact your attorney to obtain advice with respect to any particular issue or problem. The opinions expressed on the Eric Dick Show are that of the host and guests, and do not reflect the opinions of the station or iHeartMedia.
Whoa, I'm back again, back for more. Oh boy, and I've got a number of great guests today. We got a lot to talk about. This is Eric Dick, and running wingman today is none other than Philip Paul Bryant of the Kojic Pack and many other great ventures.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
We're live on AM 950. Live on a number of social media handles at Dick Law Firm. So let's just kind of dig into it. We've got a number of topics. So should a white insurance adjuster who's working for an insurance company, and I hate even bringing up really his nationality, his race, but should a white insurance adjuster suggest that an arbitrator be Hispanic because the policyholder is Hispanic? I asked that because I had this happen to me. I had this adjuster, his name is Kevin Horomas. He's kind of a jerk.
You can call him out here?
Yeah, I'm going to call him out. He's kind of, in fact, he really is. He's just not a nice person. What I've learned in this world is you've got good people and you've got bad people, and he is, anybody that knows him knows he's not a very good person. So, anyway, he suggests, and I'm just going to read what he wrote in email. He suggests, let's pull it up, as an alternative umpire, which is, I'm just going to say, arbitrator selection due to plaintiff's Hispanic heritage. Apparently now he cares that my client's Hispanic. I'd offer this other person as an alternative. And my question is that kind of racist? Is it inappropriate? And could they pick another, insurance adjuster because my client's Hispanic? I'm just wondering. Since the guy all of a sudden cares, is that appropriate? I don't know. What do you think, Philip?
Is it appropriate for an appraiser to request a umpire that's the same nationality as the client?
Yeah, whenever no one else is the same nationality, not even the person requesting.
Yeah, it seems like you're kind of infusing race into a situation that for now there's a language barrier issue. I think a language barrier issue. I think the courts have a way to kind of bring in an interpreter. I think for the most part that should be suffice. I don't necessarily think that it's about a jury of your peers at this particular point. If your peers would be the same nationality, I think it's more so about making sure that you have an arbitrator that understands the law, the rules, that guide the policy, and kind of go from there. It shouldn't necessarily be based on a race. I know a lot of people may feel a little bit more comfortable, perhaps. I know if I'm in court, if I have an African American judge and I'm African American, I may not necessarily get special treatment. And in some cases, it may be some tough love because they feel like I should know better.
So is this like him saying, you know, my client might get special treatment, or is he? I don't know.
It's kind of inferring that you only get special treatment from a. Judge or an arbitrator with the same ethnic background.
Then another question I have is why would an insurance company even hire a joker like that? Because it sounds like they're setting him up for some type of lawsuit on being sued just for being racist.
Well, the fact that he put that in writing is a little bit more concerning. I mean, even if you're thinking something, or even if that's your strategy, to actually send that over email, because from what I understand, you can actually have your email subpoenaed. I'm not an attorney, but you can have your email subpoenaed, and, as well as text messages these days. So I'm not sure why someone would put that in writing.
You can even have the opposing counsel talk about it on his radio show. I mean, imagine that. Imagine that would happen.
Yeah.
Nothing on the internet is safe from anybody.
No. So Russell, you're a lawyer. You practice criminal law, family law.
Special guest Russell, I think you may have forgot to introduce him.
I know I am not a very good host. I'm sorry. I didn't have a number of. I should have had more Southern hospitality. I know I'm a jerk plaintiff's lawyer. They call me reptilian, all this type of stuff.
Perhaps you should have had a radio host that's the same nationality.
they might have been. I know they might have been nicer. I'm sorry. So Russell, step up. Tell me what you think. Tell me about you. Tell me what you think about this.
Hey, my name's Russell. I'm Russell Newman of Newman & Rodriguez Law Firm. I do mainly criminal and juvenile, but I have a partner and she does family. I think it's a very interesting issue. I have that come up a lot in cases, such as DWIs and such. I think the issue is, how is it framed? Does this person suggest that you have someone who's of the same race, or does he require someone of the same race? Why does he want someone of the same race? I think there's issues there within that have to be answered. I don't on its face love the idea, no, I don't. But I'd like to know the thinking behind it before I say it's absolutely inappropriate or is appropriate or is not or whatever. But on its face, yes, I do find it kind of disturbing.
Well, why would you even go down that path? This is my first question. What does it matter their race?
It doesn't.
What is it? I'd hope in the current arbitrator's former county attorney, Michael Fleming, who I can tell you personally, I could go up to him and tell him what I think, and he's going to say he don't care. He's going to make his own decision because that's just how he is, period. And they just, I guess they'd rather, I don't know. It just seems weird. But you brought your law partner, your spouse, you brought her along with you today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And y'all share triplets, as we were talking about.
They are 2.5 years old. I love them to death, and they are hastening my death at the same time too, probably.
Well, that's you don't really. These are your first.
First and only.
3 at a
Yeah,
time.
it's just warming up, man. I just figured out how to do that right, man. You can just call it.
If they're great or if they're screwed up, I've done my damage.
Having 3 at a time, that is a lot. What we were talking
You
about.
might be afraid they have another 3 at a time and end up with 6. Yeah. She may never be touched again.
I sometimes joke with my spouse that having children is the best form of birth control.
No, having 3 kids is the best form of birth control.
That's very true.
Babysitting
Oh, okay.
would be good.
Okay. We're going to take a little bit of a break. Talk more with Russell and Phil Paul Bryant about some other great topics. Thanks, guys. We'll be back. What's your last name? Cynthia. Okay, Cynthia. Sorry. Oh, thanks for calling me out.
I seriously doubt that the company knew that this guy thought like that when they hired him.
They hire him because he's a joke. They really do hire him because he's a joke.
You think it's an intimidation factor?
No, I think what it is he's afraid Fleming's going to be big. He's always there, and he's just trying to bait. He's trying to bait the other person into changing. But he's just wildly inappropriate. The guy's always wildly inappropriate.
We do some stuff on having to deal with some of these adjusters is just insane. Because they go crazy, and of course it's their bottom line. The least amount that they give you, the better it is for their company to have on. But it becomes ridiculous, like after a point.
Well, essentially the job is to do it.
That's the main goal. Is that and then there could be so that they can save more money for their company.
That's true. That's true. If they were fair, I'd probably be out of business.
Because they wouldn't need you.
No, they wouldn't be.
Full-time radio host here.
Oh, yeah.
Starving full-time radio host. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Oh man. Okay.
Ours is still streaming. I don't know how to call it.
Oh, it's gonna stream all the way through.
Well, mine is on my phone. I'm streaming all this.
Okay.
A lot of people asking about the proposition.
Oh, we can talk about the propositions. You know how I feel about the firefighters. You haven't seen a bunch of great people joining in. Okay. Oh, man, we got a great crowd. Okay. Oh, so maybe let's go back. Go back with the State Farm having to pay $250,000 and Green $250,000. $250 million. A little too
50,000 in the
250 million for Judge Dixon. Oh, in a time like that, you know, we're pushing laws that favor interest of people. And then Republicans wonder why, you know, Ted Cruz is having such a hard time. Why it's a competitive race. They seem surprised, seem shocked. You can hear pretty well something of the background.
Oh, I can hear it. No, I just hear you guys.
I mean,
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I didn't even pay attention. Once it started, I was listening and laughing. It's a good show.
Feel free to jump in. We talk smack for a little bit.
Oh, I was laughing.
I'm still, to be fair, I have 2 kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I can just imagine having 3-year-olds, 3-year-olds.
2.5. So they're doing the treble twos right now?
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I'm back with Eric Dick on my little show we got here with Philip Paul Bryant running shotgun. We've got a great law couple, Russell and Cynthia
was it Newman? So then we're talking law and politics, because that is just the most fun stuff to talk about on a Saturday afternoon, folks. It's just great. Okay, so what I saw in the news some time back is State Farm agreed to pay $250 million, not thousand, not hundred, $250 million.
A quarter of a billion.
Quarter of a billion, and the allegations were that they fixed the judge. When I say fix the judge, there's an underlining case, and they got that judge kicked out to get another judge that they pretty much paid for to kick out a meritorious case, and they got sued over that and settled it for $250 million.
Yeah, this was Illinois. You know how they do Chicago politics style, right? I think it was the state Supreme Court. From what I saw, it was a state Supreme Court case. A judge was originally, I guess he was an appellate judge in the circuit court for a little bit, and then I guess when the seat came open, they threw looks like it was about $5 or $6 million behind his campaign.
5 or 6
Supreme Court
million with the M.
Bigger question is, can we get some of these State Farm PACs to donate to some of our judges? Just kidding.
How about donating to us?
Well, I think okay. So let's break this down a little bit, because this could go a lot of different ways. So you've got an insurance company, the biggest one in the nation. People wonder why I jump up and down and say, "Don't get State Farm; it's the worst one." All my newsletters, number one, say State Farm. They're vindictive. They're going to find any way to take advantage of you.
I love their commercials, though, man. I mean,
have
you seen their commercials? It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. You put your heels together and then say, and they're there when they need the money, but whenever it's time to pay the claim, apparently they aren't. They say, too bad, so sad, call your dad, go sue us. And if you get a good judge, then they're going to pay $5 million to kick out that judge to get someone else.
It seems like, it looks like there was an original case that I guess the plaintiffs won about $8 billion. And so the case was already won, and it looks like they went back, got this judge on the bench, and allowed this judge to then go back and undo the case.
Well, of course.
That's pretty gangster, even for Chicago, even for Illinois. That's pretty gangster stuff.
Cheaper than paying $8 billion.
Yes,
just a little. What do you think about that, Russell? What do you think about State Farm trying to fix a judge? We see that going on in Harris County, the criminal courts.
Well, I think people think that can happen, but I don't actually see it happening. But one of the questions I have about that is, if State Farm is being called out on this one, how many times has it happened in the past? That's a great question that I would have about this problem that's presented in Chicago.
I see it every day, folks. I see it all the time, every day with State Farm. So I'm just gonna tell you about it. If State Farm does you wrong, you hire an attorney, you sue them. Your choices are take it to the box or walk away. And that's kind of they don't care. They make you try cases. They'll spend, the last one I tried, they spent maybe $400,000 or $500,000, and this is over like a $10,000 dispute, folks. It's not over much money. It's over $10,000. They didn't pay the guy to replace his roof after there was storm damage that happened up in the Dallas area. He was upset. He's like, I've been paying into State Farm for all this time, and I figure the least they do. I've been paying them, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year. At least they do is, pay to fix my roof. But no. They made him take it to the box. 3 years later, we had a trial. So, it happens all the time. What their strategy is to just blow you out of the water. If they'll depose every single person. If you have an attorney proving up attorney fees, they'll depose you. So, y'all do, Cynthia, you do family law, right? Doing family law, I just have, you prove up attorney fees all the time. Either the husband will say, you made me do this stuff as a portion of equity since we're married, pay for my attorney fees, or the wife, or there'll be a child support little fight, and it's like, you're making me have to do this, pay up my attorney fees.
That's correct.
Happens all the time, every day.
Every day, somebody wants to find out, make sure that it's an equitable amount of attorney fees that are being paid on both sides, and there's some situations where you're entitled to the attorney fees. So if you file a motion for enforcement and you're successful, and when I say enforcement, that means, let's say your baby mama, to use a phrase, is not allowing you to see your kids according to an order. Well, judges don't like that, especially here in Harris County. We've got some really great family law judges on the bench right now.
We do.
And you're entitled to your attorney's fees if that judge feels that there was a violation of that order.
So in those cases, how many of those cases have you seen? Just a guess. How many have you done in your life of those type of cases?
I can't even count it.
Like thousands, tens of thousands?
I wouldn't say thousands. I'm not that old.
But you'd say hundreds. Like
I would say probably about 100 at this point.
Right. And then each week you've seen it 2, 3, 4 times, right?
Yes, at least each week, 2, 3, just depending on our schedules.
How many times has the opposing counsel thought it would be a good idea to depose someone over the attorney fees?
Absolutely none. In fact, we barely question each other most of the time if they're fairly reasonable on your hourly rate.
At this point, isn't it?
That's correct.
Right.
It's accepted practice on this point, especially on those types of cases.
Now, what shocks me, get this, every single time I take a State Farm case to the box, they spend 3, 4, and this is nice, 3, 4, 8 hours deposing me over attorney fees. 8 hours.
We call that being a bully. They're trying to intimidate, and they're trying to make a point, and they're using you as part of it, obviously, because if one attorney says it's not worth it, then maybe the next person won't take a State Farm case.
It's a deterrent on their part.
Correct. They know that if they start doing it across the way, because obviously you have friends that are plaintiffs' attorneys, just like we have friends that are family law attorneys and criminal law attorneys, and so we talk. And there's certain cases in certain courts, which I won't say, that I may charge a little bit more. Because I know it may be a little more difficult to deal with. And I'm sure you and your friends discuss State Farm ad nauseum.
Well, the good news is there's just not many people that take first-party insurance claims, especially with the current laws in place that are exceptionally favorable to insurance companies. You had a 542A that happened, over the last legislative session, where you had Texans for Lawsuit Reform basically bribing people to push that law in place. Just saying, and this is always their excuse, evil plaintiff lawyers, greedy plaintiff lawyers, they're taking advantage of everybody, and I just don't. Fair enough. That's just their propaganda. Usually when there's propaganda, there's a reason for the propaganda. And I'm going kind of off on just a tangent. But since we're going off in this tangent, let's run with it a little bit. Another thing I want to talk about.
What makes me upset about this State Farm case is my main man, Eric Dick, wasn't the attorney. I was sued for that how much, what's the
attorney fees on that?
What's the Mexican restaurant we go to?
Oh, El Tiempo.
Man, think about how many times we could have went to El Tiempo.
Lifetime supply.
He could have bought an El Tiempo. He could have
Oh,
bought an El
in your
Tiempo.
backyard, just a pool. Save ourselves some time.
Fajitas and margaritas for everyone.
No, we just get the little. We're just going to be getting the little meals. We're ordering off the lunch plate, Philip. We aren't buying no restaurants.
There's the kids menu too.
There's the kids menu. Yeah, you especially have the kids menu with 3 kids.
You can bring the girls; they'll only eat one of them.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back. We're going to talk about TWIA, Texas windstorm, We're going to talk about the courthouse state of affairs with family and criminal courthouses, and of course, we're going to talk about the debate last night with Beto and Ted Cruz. Stay with us. Thanks, folks. See you soon.
I turned the microphone off. I think I did. I hit off.
Oh man, that was funny.
That was.
Oh man. That's what I brought.
No, I've been doing this 100 ounces of water a day, trying to make sure I stay hydrated, and I'm like, because it helps with your like intake of food as well. So, yeah, it fills me up, and so that doesn't bode well for sitting anywhere for an hour or two. So.
I was try to. I get really bad reflux, so I try to drink water and eat healthy. All the avoid all the stuff you like, everything that's good.
Exactly.
Everything that tastes good.
It's bad for reflux. I know. I have that.
Life well lived might be better than a long life.
Well, I got kids too. I'm not going short.
Yeah, the 2-year-old. That's.
You guys got. You're not a spring chicken when you had the kiddos, which ain't nothing. I don't mean to be nothing. I wasn't young when I had my kiddos either.
It's tough.
And it's amazing. It's some of the best parts of your life.
It is. It's great. And I tell people I had them late, but I had a good time before, so it's not like I'm sitting here missing the vacations or doing things.
No, and you got your kiddos, and it just the way they look at you, the way the things they do is just so adorable. How they interact.
They're happy just to sit on you and watch TV
They
for like a short period.
they will manipulate you the rest of your life.
They try. They try. Very much the Hispanic mama, so. And people laugh at me, but I'm like, you take my kids in public, they eat out once or twice a week, and we don't have issues.
Well, nothing's wrong with that.
I sit there. I may not eat, but it's just to train them as they get older so they know how to behave when you're in public, because we eat out probably 2 or 3 times a week with them. And then ourselves forget it, we eat.
Nothing's wrong with that. And you're in the swamp. You're chugging along. You got like doing family law and criminal law. That's tough. That's
We
tough
didn't even
work.
slow down. We had them in the NICU for 6 weeks. They were home for 2 weeks when we tried a sexual assault case in Galveston. So we were leaving them at 7 with the nanny and getting back at 7 and then taking care of them, and they weren't sleeping through the nights. So we were living on an hour and a half to 2 hours of sleep a night while we tried the sexual assault case. It was crazy. I think about it now, and I can't even believe we survived.
It's awesome. It's just awesome in itself, and that y'all are able to push a successful law firm, and you got 3 kiddos, like young kiddos, and just doing it. I mean, you aren't sleeping, but you're doing it.
Well, we have a lot of. We have extended family. My family. I come from a very big family, and so they help out quite a bit. And then, like today, I was lucky. My secretary's daughter had early childhood development as her major, so she's in student teaching and not making money. So she's happy to come over on Saturdays and take care of the kids for us for a few hours for not that much. And I mean, otherwise I would be coming here. You know, our family wants to do things with their families too.
No. My mom's playing with my kids now too.
I mean, we're lucky. A lot of people don't have extended family to help, so I'm very, very blessed.
Getting close.
So just push on, right? You all tell me when, and I'll do on.
All right, folks, we're back. I've got a bunch of great people here. Philip Paul Bryant, Russell, and Cynthia Newman.
Hello.
Great family and criminal law here in Houston. And let's talk about Texas windstorm, whether it's worth it, whether we should get rid of it. Let's kind of go a little background. Texas Windstorm is the insurance company of last resort along the coast. Laws changed maybe in 2005 5, making it pretty difficult to get Texas Windstorm to actually pay a claim. You have a lot of articles happening, a lot of people suing, saying that Texas Windstorm, they sent out an initial adjuster saying that the damage was like $80,000. Then that was too much, and they had to send out like a new adjuster to come back and just knock the number down to like $10,000, $15,000. My question is this: should we even have Texas Windstorm? Why are we paying the money on this? If they're ripping people off, why do we even have it? Why are we even dealing? Why?
You're the insurer of last resort, from what I read.
Well, I don't. Okay, so I hear you saying it's the insurer of last resort, but you got to keep in mind. Here's kind of the beauty of it. There's also lender-placed policy. So if you didn't have insurance, the lender would automatically kick in. And I'm not saying it's better because actually it might be like just slightly better if you're able to sue them. They always argue that you don't have standing, but it's much better insurance than Texas Windstorm because it's comprehensive, and I'm sure there's the same level of corruptions there. I'm not doubting that, but I guess the question is it better? Because I'm not even sure. What do you think, Philip?
So this is something that taxpayers have to pay for.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh yeah.
And it kicks in if your current policy doesn't work.
No, if you are off the Gulf Coast and you want insurance, there are some insurance companies now that do sell. Private insurance companies. Swift is one. Just an interesting name for insurance company on the Gulf Coast. But there are some private insurance companies that are selling on the Gulf Coast. If you are not able to get them, then if you have a mortgage company or what have you, they're going to force you to get insurance.
If you're denied.
No, if you can't get insurance, or if you'd end up getting it from someone like TWIA. And so that's kind of what it is. What do you think, Russell?
I don't see the point. I kind of agree with you. What are we getting out of this? I mean, is there a tangible asset that we see in TWIA that we wouldn't see if we didn't have it?
I don't know. Cynthia, what do you think?
Well, it sounds like they are paying some, they're just not paying all. Is that correct?
The allegations are there's a law firm that sued them, done depositions, where what happened is initially they'd say like the damages are like $80,000, and then they wouldn't like that, so they'd go back and they'd send another expert and say, no, that's too much, let's knock it down to 15.
Okay, and so the issue is whether or not that's, I guess it's, if they can't get it from anyone else, would you think 15,000 is better than none?
How much are you paying for the insurance would be my question. Are you paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 a year for the insurance? If you are, save your money.
That's true. Well, that's similar to being forced to have any kind of health care insurance
I
as
think
well.
about insurance in general.
For some people, they pay whatever the penalty is. It's $600 to $1,000 or something like that, versus you don't want to know what we pay every month.
No, it's probably similar to what I pay every month.
And so that's part of the issue, is just, is it worth it in the long run when you save it? I guess when you, depending on how much they're going to pay, but if the history is that they're not going to be covering these, then no. I mean, you can save your $1,000, $1,200 a month, and you just put that $15,000 towards whatever damage you end up getting.
And if you have a mortgage company, the mortgage company is going to charge it for lender-placed policy, which that will pay because the mortgage company is going to want the house fixed.
Correct.
I don't know if they'll pay right. They probably won't pay right, but I imagine they'd pay something. They'd at least pay enough. I'd hope that. Well, who knows? I imagine. I've had cases where the lender-placed policy didn't pay stuff, so maybe I'm just too hopeful. Maybe I'm just too optimistic.
I wonder if it's really that much every month, because it makes me think kind of something synonymous with us. We live in a flood zone, so we have to pay flood insurance, and we pay, and it's going up over the last few years, and it was, I think, $1,600 this year. So $1,600 over the 12 months, and if you pay that for this type of insurance, if you get $15,000 for damage, that may be worth it.
So what's fascinating about flood insurance?
Sit around and wait for FEMA.
That's something.
That's a legitimate point.
Oh, we're sorry.
You'll be waiting around for quite a while.
The Red Cross is good for 500, I think.
So what's interesting about NFIP, if we're going to go into a little bit, it's a government subsidized program where you have businesses, individuals purchasing insurance that, when I say subsidized, in theory, they're supposed to pay out more than they collect, and they probably do. I don't doubt it. But having said all that, what my issue with NFIP is, I don't understand why they offer it to the business community, to school districts, to stuff like that. Whenever you can actually buy insurance on the private market, flood insurance, and it's not that much more. So that's kind of another. I kind of wonder about that. And I'm going on a side note. Russell, tell me the state of affairs in the criminal courthouses in Harris County.
Well, it's a pretty big cluster. It's a big problem. I think in what's been over a year, they have done nothing to ameliorate the situation. But I think the original criminal courthouse was such a disaster that if they fix that somehow, which I don't see how they can, maybe there may actually be a blessing somehow. But for right now, I'm running from juvenile court to civil court to a small portion of the criminal court, all to cover the same criminal docket. And it pushes back civil cases that, like, you have to try, or family cases that my partner has to try, because criminal cases take precedence because, your freedom's at stake. And so I feel not only do I have to cover so much more ground in the same amount of time, my cases get precedence in the court, and that backs everything up. So I think they really, really need to focus on having each courthouse for each kind of law again. But I think we're moving very slowly and haven't seen any improvement, and it kind of gets me down because I don't know what Harris County is doing to fix the security.
Aren't they still using parts of the building? Because I know a family that they had a case down there, and it seems like they kind of redirect you automatically when you go to the criminal court. They tell you to go to civil court, even though they're having some criminal court cases in the criminal court. What's going on?
What do you think, Cynthia?
They may try the cases in different courts. So let's say for regular settings, you have regular court appearances, you go to the civil courthouse.
Right.
Or one day you may show up, if you're set for trial, they're going to send you back to another courthouse to actually try the case. So it can get confusing for people, and they have now opened up the 20th floor.
A couple floors. Probably 17 through 20.
Of the main criminal courthouse,
Which is the
on
courthouse,
201 Franklin.
which is the courthouse floor that was the least affected. What they're saying is it's the easiest ones to open. But they're saying the other ones are so far from being open that they're not even optimistic for
So they're just kind of
2020.
doing one floor at a time as far as
I think they're opening the floors that were not destroyed. They're saying the other floors have been so damaged that they can't open them anytime soon without major construction.
Well, and what the background here, if folks are just tuning in, they don't understand what we're talking about, is the civil courthouses, more specifically, the criminal courthouse got flooded, just something severe from Hurricane Harvey. There was a basement, doors.
I think they have some roof problems.
Sprinklers went off.
It wasn't roof problems. I actually remember this quite well because they asked me a little bit about the insurance. So, oh no, okay. And Chris Daniel was on here last week, and I know he's hustling. He's doing what he can, but there's only so much the district court can do. It's
He's
really
a great district clerk to deal with. I don't even know the man personally, but if I have problems on cases, he answers my messaging on Facebook.
I know.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, he hustles. So criminal courthouse flooded. All the cases got moved over to the civil courthouse. The old family courthouse, is it even being used anymore?
Yeah, it's being used for misdemeanors right now.
And
The civil courthouse is felonies, and the old family courthouse is being misdemeanors.
Misdemeanors and 4D courts, which are the OAG courts.
Child support.
Yeah, the child support, the Title 4D, or the Attorney General brings them for to pay child support. Yeah. So what kind of cases do you do, Russell?
I've tried everything from Class C tickets to murder. I mean,
Got a murder case?
Yeah, sure. DWIs, ag assaults.
DWI, you could have represented Duco.
Yeah, right. And you know what? If I did, no one would know about it.
Well, we'll get into that. That might be a good segue. So if people want to find out about you, Russell, where do they look?
Well, You can type in my name in Google, and the first thing that comes up is my website, but officially it's NewmanandRodriguez.com, and it gives us a little dossier about who we are, and, you know, we're just fighters. We fight our cases. We don't plead. We rarely work them out, and we come out on top if you hire us.
Perfect.
Hang out between the courts and watch them run from one court to another. Absolutely.
That's awesome. We're going to be right back, folks. Stay tuned. We're talking about Beto versus Cruz, the debate. Thanks, guys.
Oh, God.
She keeps me on track. The thing is, like, sometimes I'll forget. Like, I won't catch it until it's like, you gotta take a break.
You want to hear the news?
Yeah.
They say 2020 is optimistic by going to fix any of the collapse.
No, I don't doubt it. I don't.
So that's the.
My hope is that they actually, the problem with the criminal courthouse, well, there's a lot of problems with the criminal courthouse, but the biggest problem that I saw is that you couldn't get into the darn thing. So if they are repairing it, I hope they actually fix it so you can actually go up the elevator. How much are they spent? Might be definitely. Because I mean,
structure is already flawed as it is. I come back, you got a whole building there?
Yeah. How long does it take you to get to the Gulf Series? Sometimes it's
even if I'm on bond, my mom could be selected on the boat, and I'm going on time.
You gotta come, and you got a big line in front of the courthouse.
That's just what happened to someone. I was in the DGA, and they went through the metal detectors and everything at the Silver Courthouse. They told them they needed to go to the criminal court. They went over to the criminal court. They said, no, you need to go back to the Silver Court. And by the time they got back, the line was like around the corner. And I'm pretty sure that they got there following that. Yep.
That's insane. And they wonder why people have big problems with criminal justice. They wonder why people are upset with criminal justice.
Yeah, I have to. Right, you were there on time. They tell you to go to the wrong building, and now they revoke your bond and put you back in jail. That's
you got to show up to court for 2 hours. They wonder. Huh.
Smoking always affected my daily life because I was a closet smoker. It really before it really cleared up. And my boss is saying that I can be clear, so I don't get any of the odor of smoking. There's no ash all over the car. I would say give it a try. You could feel your own satisfaction of smoking. If you can use a cigarette ash or any way later, switch to good. Check out JUL.com. If you don't smoke a vape, don't start. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is addictive people.
Weird. So what it is working. Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, streaming, Twitch. Okay. How you guys on Instagram doing? Thumbs up? I don't got much time left.
I just can't believe they just let me let me have this show. I think they're just gotten desperate at KPRC. Find some poor lawyer on the side of the street and then just give them a show.
That's funny. We'll host for food.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's the sign I had. Thanks, guys. I'm back. Eric Dick. Let's just kind of jump into it. Beto versus Cruz. What do you think, Russell? What do you think of the debate that happened last night?
I think Beto really has a good campaign on his hands. I think there are many people that are coming to my house day after day asking me to sign for them, and there's more signs on every lawn.
I keep getting text messages.
Yeah, I get text messages too. You know, he's really trying, and he has this grassroots campaign, but I don't think he's going to beat Cruz. I don't think he has what it takes. I think he's likable, but I don't think
He doesn't have the experience.
He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the aura about him to be our next senator.
Since when did his experience become a requirement to win an election?
I guess not.
What are you talking about, man?
Just in comparing the two, when you
Right.
look at the two of them, when you're trying to determine which do you feel will win in the long run, it just seems like Cruz seems more together. And I'm not saying we're supporting either. We're not getting into that drama here.
Well, in my opinion, I'm just talking about as far as the ability to get out the vote, make sure your voters, make sure your base shows up for the election. That's who determines. I mean, because there's a lot of great judicial candidates on the ballot.
Phenomenal. Sherry Dean, John Schmoody.
Alicia
York, yes.
Millard.
Yes.
Prime.
It's Prine. Judge Prine is on there.
Charlie.
Right, but it's not.
Hi, Judge Prine.
He's probably watching.
If you're listening, hi,
he
Judge
probably
Prine.
is. He probably is.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh.
Yes, there are a lot of
but it's
people
not
on there.
based on that. It's based on who gets the people out to vote. I mean,
Right.
all of those judges are in jeopardy of losing their jobs.
Absolutely.
If the Republican base doesn't get out there and kick butt, or if the Democrats are some way super motivated to come out to vote.
Well, I see some of the judges that are really trying. They're going a little bit further than normal because I think they really do feel that they need to just advocate for themselves.
And I think they're right. Just me sitting on the sidelines here, I see that I've never seen so many signs. I've never seen so much support for a Democrat running for U.S. Senate. I'm not saying he's going to win because he's not. He doesn't have the ability to get Republicans to support him, and unfortunately, Texas is at least 2/3. I'll be generous and say 60% Republican. And I'm not saying the Republicans like Ted Cruz, because a lot of them don't. Shockingly, a very large amount of them don't. I'm sorry, folks, they don't. I have county commissioners in Harris County telling me what a SOB he is. And these are people in his own county. I'm not going to name names.
Not this
You're not
time.
safe on this show.
I'm not going to name names, but if you know me, you can deduct it pretty quick. But I have
4 of them.
I know there's only 4 of them. But anyway, my point is this: is that for Beto to win, and I think he had more of a shot prior to the debate. But for him to win, he has to have crossover appeal. When all he did is he showed he was a liberal Democrat.
Correct.
Moderates wanted to vote for him. They still don't like Ted Cruz. I don't know whether they're going to vote or not. Independents, they don't particularly like Ted Cruz, but they're afraid of Beto because he's a socialist. And maybe he's not per se a socialist, but he's very, very liberal, and that can't be denied. So that's it. I think the race truly is Beto's to lose, and he's losing it.
And you think if he was in the middle, he'd have a greater shot at that point?
I absolutely think he could win.
He'd win.
I think if he just told Republicans, "Hey guys, look, I'm Christian. I know I don't like abortion. I don't really support abortion, but I think you should have you should work there, or at least say, look, I'm just a senator. I'm not going to touch those rights. What I'm first as a Texan, I care about helping people."
And I care about keeping us secure. If he didn't have to say, I support building a wall. He just had to say, I understand that something needs to be out there to secure our borders, to take care of us as Texans.
And he was right about not having a wall, dividing your property. That happens along the border. You have the government actually build a wall and separate your property, where he's right on that. He is. You shouldn't have government going there and putting a big wall in the middle of your property.
Correct.
Taking away your real estate.
Probably pay your rent.
If they would, I wouldn't mind the wall.
Right.
Chip in.
So he's not off on that. I do support a wall being built. I just don't think you should destroy people's property building the wall.
Well, I thought he did a really good job of comparing him to Hillary. He kept
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz. He kept saying you and Hillary, which is a really good strategy in my opinion. And he also started talking about him not being lockstep with Texas. That's not what he tried to almost make him the outsider, which I thought he did a really good job.
But what Ted also did a good job is acting like a jerk, and that's what he's really good at. And I don't mean to be anything, but whenever you had Beto at the very end try to be nice, and Ted kind of being a little sarcastic, it didn't help him. There's a reason why this race is as close as it is. There has to be a reason why, and I don't buy into a bunch of liberals pouring money into it, because that happens all the time. The reason it's so close is because Ted Cruz is not likable.
Correct.
And the reason he's not likable is how he treats people. And this is what I tell all the politicians I meet, all the great judges that we named before. How you treat people, how you treat the people in your court, how you treat people that you don't even expect, that plays a giant role in politics.
And life.
And life, and business, and everything.
It resonates.
It does resonate.
Well, almost 4 million people did vote for Hillary Clinton, by the way. It was, a 43 to 53% Hillary versus Trump, what was it, 2 years ago. So there are a lot of Democrats in Texas who has the ability to vote for a veto.
What was the end numbers with Trump and Hillary?
I think Trump got about 53% to Hillary's 43%.
Well, there you go. So even
4.8 million to 3.8 million.
I'm going to give Beto the benefit of the doubt and say he gets the 48%.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the whole point that Eric's making, is that even if he needs to do something to make himself more likable to some of the Republicans that are on the fence, or the independents, because even if he gets what Hillary got, he's not going to win.
But that line was, you're still talking about half of the state. So in my opinion, a large portion of where Hillary votes came from was the same area that Cruz is on.
Well, what I think Eric is saying is that Cruz is vulnerable right now, and Beto could do a better job of grabbing the people that are on the fence by being more moderate, but he's not doing that. He has a shot, and he's not taking it. That's what I think.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But I don't think Beto is. I think he comes off as a nice guy, as a passionate guy.
Right.
I disagree with him strongly on a number of issues, but I think personality only goes so far. Though he has a good personality, he'd have to at least not scare Republicans, even just people that dislike Ted Cruz, to think that even though we dislike Ted Cruz strongly, we might dislike you more. That's
basically
that's it.
Well, you can't underestimate speeches and likability. There was a young black fella a couple of years back who won the presidency a couple times,
but he didn't win Texas. He won Harris County, and I will note. I'm not saying Beto won't win Harris County, and this is what we'll kind of maybe end on this, is that we have some really, really great people on the Republican side running for office. And there's been, what I've heard is there's been internal polling with the Republican Party. I've even heard that Dan Patrick has some serious apprehension that the Republicans lose Harris County.
Right.
And if that happens, it's going to be very sad, because people like Sherry Dean, and I've known her a long time, she is a very, very sweet woman.
Roy Moore, too. We almost forgot about
Judge Farr. Judge Farr is probably one of the most qualified family law judges on the bench. He's amazing, and he's he's up for re-election, and that's what's going to be difficult is if people go out there and vote straight party, which I do not advocate. Please don't do that. If you don't know anything about these family law judges, message me on Facebook. I'm happy to discuss it with you. I'm happy to tell you why I support these judges, because they have experience. They do well. They do their job in such a manner that you are proud to work in Harris County.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week. You guys have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks. Sorry.
That's okay.
I talk way too much.
Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Hope to hear from you soon. Hope to hear your comments. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks a lot, everybody. We appreciate you watching.
Okay, got that done. Still learning this